sensual today. Welcome, guys.
Hello.
Well, it's a very sensual movie that we're doing today.
Welcome back to Make Love to This Movie.
Yeah. It's like gearhead porn.
Kind of, yeah, it is. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So, welcome to Fuck This Movie.
Yeah. We do the thing every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We're doing it now.
Hell yeah.
Almost every 2 weeks.
Yeah, we try. There's been some hiccups, but
Life happens, man.
Yeah,
Life
we're only
happens.
human.
It probably averages like 2 weeks and 3 days.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
That's pretty good.
We're going to start with some intros. We got the man to my right, owner, proprietor, professional doodler, John Brown.
I do some doodles.
Yeah,
Diddling
you
and
do the doodles.
A doodle doodle doo.
Fuck, man, it's hard to even talk about you guys. To my left, we have frequent moviegoer, aspiring criterioner, and a professional windower. Reese and Weiler.
Thank you.
Pain man.
He's a pain man.
I'm interested in pain.
That's pretty good. I like Pain Man.
Yeah.
I myself am superior lightbringer and incoherent rambler, Dustin Holler.
Yeah, we're all a bit of that.
Yeah.
There's a fair amount.
We can share. We can share with the labels.
For sure.
So it's been another 2 weeks. It's
It
another
has.
episode. This is number 18.
Incredible.
And what have you guys been watching? Curious to know.
Me, it's mostly been a series again. I got stuck up on a series.
Stuck on a series.
Yep, it's been True
Tired
Detective.
of leaving. Huh?
Yeah.
What?
True Detective.
Which season?
I'm on the 3rd season now.
He's been like blazing through this.
Yeah. Well, the first one's just fucking amazing.
Yeah, it's really good.
Just really good too. Like one of my favorite actors for sure, Woody Harrelson. I fucking love the guy to death. Matthew McConaughey. Not necessarily one of my favorites, but when he's good, I really think he's good.
Yeah.
He's done a lot of bullshit, but when he does something good and he's good in it, it really just.
You know what I think
fucking
he's
solid.
at his best is when he does something that's really not him.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Exactly.
But
yeah.
like it's so easy to just slot him into a movie where he can just be him.
Yeah.
And have him be like the
handsome
perfect
dude.
character for your
Yeah.
movie because
Yeah.
he's just kind of like the, hey guys, let's go do this thing and it'll
Yeah.
be fun, guy.
For sure.
You know, and it's so easy to just throw that guy into your movie and have him be a fun character.
I think he's also really good in supporting roles. Like,
Yeah.
he has like a total of 3 minutes of screen time in Wolf of Wall Street, but I think he's great in that.
Oh
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
he is great.
Yeah.
Wolf is like the coked up.
Yeah.
like,
Which again, he leans into that. And even the first season of True Detectives, like the current day character of his is like just fucking. Well, and even the old one, like he still plays kind of the drugged out of his mind dude in that series as well.
yeah.
But it just carries a lot more weight. But yeah, it's fantastic. If you haven't watched the series, absolutely check it out if you like crime stuff. Just really hard-hitting, gripping performances, really intricate story, delivers really well. Characters are super endearing. I will say the second season is, as much as I like Vince Vaughn and Colin Farrell, the second season is pretty well dog shit. I think I don't know, it's not dog shit. It's just like,
There's a lot going on.
it's forced. It's just so forced.
Yeah.
It felt super forced. There's too much happening all the time. Just way too many characters. Trying to connect all the characters just didn't feel natural at all. I think there's a cop character. There's a ex-military
character.
yeah, the ex-military cop character felt super forced. Like he was just the third wheel. Like they made the character relevant, but they didn't have to have a character to make relevant to the rest of the story in the second season. The third season feels a lot more like the first season. I think that they try to do something new.
Who are the actors in the third season? It's,
People I'm less familiar with.
I'm pretty sure I've seen it.
The black dude, I can't remember his name.
Oh, Mahershala Ali.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
He was just in Leave the World Behind.
oh shit, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right on. I don't know why I didn't make that connection.
Something about his performance in Leave the World Behind. He's very different. I don't know.
Yeah.
He plays a much more unnerving character, I think.
The other dude, the white guy, is a familiar name. I'm so bad with names.
You're bad with
Terrible.
names.
I'm so terrible.
This is something we can agree on.
Yeah, man, I get lost in the experience of the art, okay? Like, I'm not good at painting, I get lost in the technique and color, all right? Not the fucking brushes used.
Yeah, definitely get your salesmanship on you, the way you tried to sell me that line of bullshit there.
Just saying, it's true. Anyway, the third season is a much more it's a much more interesting story. It feels a lot more like the formula used in the first season. They just kind of slowed things down a little bit, and it delivers a lot more. It's about a child murder and abduction in the 80s is what that one centers around in a small town. They think it's maybe molestation, like a child abuse ring, like a pedophilia ring. I'm only halfway through that season, but there's a lot going on. The main character is losing his memory, so he's like through the season, he's recovering some of his memories, and it eventually starts to hint that maybe things were covered up, but he can't even remember that things were covered up. But way more dynamic. It's a lot more interesting.
That's the thing that's great about anthology series is just the fact that they aren't the same every season. You might have a dud, but like it's cool because you don't have to go down that same well in the next one.
Yeah, exactly. And it's super.
We get to start over again in the next season.
And the third season is super refreshing and I'm gonna watch this. I didn't finish the second season. I'm gonna finish it myself because I am genuinely curious about the resolution. Like I did like the story as complex as it was. There were some frustrating parts, and I still enjoyed Colin Farrell's performance.
You're talking about season two,
yeah. I still enjoyed Colin Farrell. I still enjoyed Vince Vaughn.
It's just the great thing about an anthology series because you think like if it's a non-anthology series, then if your season 2 sucks, then like it's kind of hard to come out of that hole, right? You've already gone there, so like exactly. Coming back is going to be kind of difficult.
So all in all, though, I do say that is a super worthwhile series to watch, and there are parts of the second season that I'm sure certain people would super dig. So. It's still worth watching.
Is season 4 out, or is it coming out
It's
soon?
coming, I think, the 14th.
And who's in that one?
I don't know. We didn't see.
Do we know yet? We don't know yet.
How do we
can probably look it up.
Comes out this month.
We have the power.
Let's talk about other things while Reese looks this up.
All right. So aside from that, the other thing that I watched that was notable, even though it wasn't particularly good, but still was notable, was fucking Zardoz from like 1978.
I've never seen it, but I've seen the poster, and it is life-changing.
The outfits are fucking ridiculous. It's the most ridiculous thing you'll ever see Sean Connery wear. It's a lot. It's actually, I don't know, man. Like,
is it a hoe slapping glove?
No, it is higher than your knee boots, like brown leather knee boots, basically red underwear, and then a bandolier of shotgun shells.
These underwear aren't like boxer shorts. These are like Speedo style.
No, they're Speedo. They're like tidy whities, but red.
Yeah,
pretty much
leather, and then it's got like kind of like the straps, but they crisscross, right?
Yeah, it's a bandolier of shotgun shells that he never uses ever.
It's all.
He only uses a revolver.
It's all about the style.
No, it was genuinely interesting. I actually liked what it was. If you're a fan of dystopian stuff, I think it's well worth watching.
If you're a fan of dystopian stuff, you have come to the right episode.
Yeah. There's a lot of interesting dialogue. There's a lot of interesting ideas in it. For them trying to tell the story they were trying to tell, they couldn't necessarily pull it off. I actually, watching it, I thought it would, if ever anything could be made into a great reboot. I actually think that this film is ripe for
a lot of those like standalone sci-fi fantasy epics from that time. I think could use like a really fun reboot.
Yeah. Now, and it's so
Krull.
like there's which one?
Krull.
Yeah. Krull could.
Oh, dude, I'll tell you what. Like, man, this is on my list too. I could possibly have picked Krull in the future.
Yeah. I just rewatched Krull not that long ago. It doesn't hold up super well.
It doesn't hold up, but like Krull is still like kind of cool.
No, it is cool. It's a cool idea,
Yeah.
and that's exactly the same thing.
yeah.
It's
Like Curl's like my childhood, man.
That's the thing. I'm so annoyed with the things they choose to reboot because there's literally a fucking infinite wellspring of 80s flicks that are great ideas that they just couldn't pull off.
Yeah.
You know?
I hear they're working on a Barbie reboot.
One that annoyed me of the reboots was fucking Total Recall because, like, dude, Total Recall I think is just a fantastic movie. Like,
well, it's
the
so
OG
like over the top and goofy, and then the new one went for like dark, like kind of realism.
Yeah, and there's an amount of dark in the OG, but
yeah, I mean the most
give the people back their
the most serious infraction, in my opinion, is The Longest Yard. But there are some others I could throw out there as well.
Yeah.
So, anywho, hopefully, if anybody of influence listens to this and wants an idea for a movie to reboot,
dude, think of something unique. You fucking schmuck out there that's listening, that's looking for something to reboot.
Quit rebooting Spider-Man.
Put pen to paper and come up with something unique.
So the Zardoz was pretty entertaining. The opening scene was pretty ridiculous because this giant stone head comes. Well, actually, the opening scene is a floating head of.
It's kind of isn't that kind of like they parodied that in the "Show Me What You Got" in Rick and Morty?
Yeah, a little bit. So the Zardoz is a play on the Wizard of Oz. Is the whole bit, because one of the characters
the Zardoz.
Yeah. Exactly. So the whole bit of the world is that at a certain point everything's fucked. Everything went belly up, tits up, whatever you want to say. And the elites, rich, smartest people decided to make a little oasis and protect all the history and knowledge of humanity and just said fuck everything else. And they also gave themselves immortality and then couldn't figure out how to solve any of the world's problems with immortality. So at a certain point after being immortal for so long, they're like, man, and a group of them are pretty much like, this kind of fucking sucks. We want to die now. So one of them orchestrates a plan to bring back their mortality by essentially controlling the breeding of someone in the Outlands, the not Oasis, to become like a fucking super mutant, essentially, and that's Sean Connery's character. And then teaches him all the world's history, or enough of the world's history, and then gets him to be able to get into the Oasis and then upset the status quo and topple the world as it stands. So it's actually a really fucking cool idea. It's really solid. It is super ridiculous. But yeah, so the opening scene is this giant fucking stone head floating around in the sky, and all these dudes dressed just like Sean Connery because they're the chosen ones of Zardoz, which is just some immortal asshole that was bored enough to fucking orchestrate this plan.
Yeah.
Chilling in this giant fucking head. But he's chosen them to be, what the fuck, Terminators or something like that. He called them. But basically their whole role is just to murder people.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Like, just, you guys are cool. You can reproduce. Everyone else, nah, just kill everybody. And so this fucking thing floats down, and all these dudes are riding around, whipping and hollering like, Zardoz, Zardoz,
Zardoz.
This thing fucking descends down.
There's no dialogue in the movie except for Zardoz, Zardoz.
Descends down, and the first thing it says is like, it does this bit about how the penis is evil and reproduction is terrible.
Seems
and I have brought you the gift of the gun to spread my message of fucking death. And this giant stone head just vomits out, like, just fucking a million guns and ammunition, and all these dudes just lose their shit. But, yeah, on a very fun opening scene. Anyhow, so, if you want to watch a wacky fucking old dystopian flick,
I gotta watch it at some point. Yeah.
Dude, it's
just for Sean Connery's
It's
outfit.
entertaining enough, dude. It's not really, like, the worst. It's not good, but it's not bad.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's pretty much it for me, I'd say.
Season 4 of True Detective looks like it's gonna have like the most low-key cast. John Hawkes, Fiona Shaw, Christopher Eccleston, and Jodie Foster.
Jodie Foster.
Yeah.
Eccleston sounds familiar. What has he been in?
He's one of the doctors.
Doctors
Who.
Okay.
Also,
In Leftovers.
he's in the greatest series of all time,
Yeah.
Leftovers.
He's the guy who was like in front of the crowd. He was actually only in the pilot.
He's
for real
barely in the
Yeah,
pilot.
no,
He's
it's
just
okay.
he's the
This person
pastor
was a
that's handing
rapist.
out flyers.
Yeah,
and they got taken away.
Oh, that.
you know?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's coming soon. What else? What else has been in the watched business lately?
Well, Letterboxd picked a real fun time to have a downage right now. So I can't look at my diary. I'm gonna have to wing it. But
you should wing it because I also noticed this outage.
Oh yeah, are you looking
So
at?
it's not working on my phone either. So
Yeah, I looked at on the Down for Everyone or JustMe.com. It's down for everyone. But I watched some pretty notable stuff. I went ahead and bought for New Year's Eve. I bought Dream Scenario, the new Nicolas Cage movie.
I didn't even hear of that one.
Yeah, you'll like it.
Yeah.
It's very being John Malkovich-ish.
Okay.
is it like that's all he does now?
Yeah.
Nicolas
Very
fucking
weird,
Cage.
kind of self-referential
Jesus
and meta
Christ,
movies.
Nicolas Cage, we get it.
Calm
But
down, buddy.
it's
Come
good.
up with a new shtick, man.
I liked it a lot.
I'll check it out.
Yeah.
I like him enough. I actually really appreciate the things where he's gone in
Yeah.
later parts of his career. 'Cause
I thought it's more interesting than like I liked
other
the comedy he was in.
Yeah.
But I think it's a lot more
No,
interesting.
it's funny that just he's done like the same thing that two other guys did that are on two different end of the spectrums. Because like the first thing is like the Bruce Campbell thing,
Yeah.
and this thing is now the John Malkovich thing. So
Yeah.
he's like, I'll play both fucking sides.
yeah.
I'm goofy and I'm arts.
Yeah. And he makes some very interesting choices. He's got a very odd voice. It's like an affect he's putting on his voice. But it's very funny. I also, speaking of series, I finally got to start watching the new Nathan Fielder show, The Curse.
No,
It's
I still want to watch it. I
Yeah.
haven't got to it yet.
It's got Emma Stone and Benny Safdie in it, and it is just extremely like outlandish and cringy and just
Yeah.
mind-boggling. It's
So is
insane.
it good?
I really like it. Yeah,
You used a lot of adjectives. You did not tell me whether or not I should watch it or not.
I think it's worth watching. It's like
Because you just said like cringy and like
it's got
you
it's
used
got
a lot of negative words. Not gonna lie. And then you
It's-
told me I should watch
It is a plot point that Nathan Fielder's character in it has a micro penis.
Okay.
And his father-in-law at one point decides to try and comfort him by having a micro penis, by like giving him this long talk about how it's okay if you have a micro penis, and then he turns around and shows him his micro penis. And he's like, "Look, I'm smaller than you, and it's fine," you know. That's what I mean by cringe. It's
Yeah.
just like
Okay.
uncomfortable, but it's good. I love everything he's ever done. So, it's really weird. It's kind of like a very meta commentary on like internet culture and reality TV and activism and stuff.
On that note, I did act. There was only other notable thing that I watched was the last South Park special, which was also hilarious.
Did they change or rebrand? I keep seeing the commercials where it's like not suitable for children.
So that one, no, it's just a shtick for that episode. This episode delves into social influencers and
Oh, okay.
OnlyFans and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So like,
So you loved it.
it called out everything for exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And after that episode, I'm pretty sure if they keep going the rate they're going, they might die in a car wreck inexplicably. Like, they're getting really fucking balls out brazen, man. It's
Yeah.
kind of crazy, honestly. But
Yeah.
so yeah,
Huh.
worth watching
Yeah.
if you like South Park.
Yeah, I do. I have not actually watched it in a long time, but I do like some.
The specials they've done in the last couple of years have been really, really on point, and
Yeah.
they're just, again, they're not picking any side ever. They just
Shitting on everybody.
they just lay it all out. They just look at everything for exactly what it is,
Yeah.
in a degree of like a childish way, but it's with real weight behind it. And I think they dress up the weight with the childish antics just to make it go down smoother and maybe take a little less heat for what they're saying, because they're always saying some fucking shit.
Yeah.
For sure. So, sorry, didn't mean to
No,
interrupt. I
no.
just popped in
I like their movies more than most.
Yeah.
Like I'm okay with South Park. I'm not the biggest South Park fan. I think it's good.
There is
It's
the
just
thing
not my
is,
favorite.
You
but
mean
like
the South Park movies or the guys who make South
No,
Park?
yeah, the movies
just,
that they
just,
make.
Just like
Yeah.
the world, the whole,
Okay,
like
yeah,
like all of it. Like
Yeah.
like I like South Park, but like I'm not the biggest South Park fan.
Yeah.
But like as far as just Trey Parker and Matt Stone,
Yeah.
I think that most of their movies like have been reviewed as like kind of being like bombs, except for like randomly Team America people think is like
Team America is fantastic.
no, I'm not saying it's not fantastic,
Yeah.
but I don't think that it's that much better than anything else that they've done.
No.
I
Everything
think the
else,
fact that it's like the marionettes makes
Yeah.
people able to like recognize it for like it's not
it's,
trying to
it's
be
goofiness.
smart. It's like
So-
goofy and ridiculous.
So every other movie that they've done is just as fucking goofy as Team America, but the fact that they didn't actually have to spell it out with puppets
yeah.
in the other movies makes it a little too much for most people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Basketball is actually one of the most clever fucking comedies that I've seen. Especially as a sports guy, like there are so many subtle jokes in there that
Yeah.
a lot of people don't get.
Yeah.
I really,
like,
I wish they'd do a movie of Book of Mormon. I would love to see
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, for sure.
like Orgasmo's a little over the top, but like it's still a really fucking funny.
I mean,
movie.
everything they
And,
do
like-
is just defaultly over the top.
And honestly, there aren't that many movies that, like just in general, there aren't that many movies that are rated NC-17 that are worth watching.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's one of them.
Right.
So
No, yeah. If you haven't seen the last few years of stuff they've done, I think it's all worth watching. It's just, and again, it's super pointed social commentary, and there's a shit ton of South Park too, and like some of
Yeah.
it's
oh, dude, it's been going on for a really long time.
they've
It's
got
like,
there are seasons that are just fucking heaters, man. Like the season that had the cartoon wars, that had the episode where Cartman frees himself to get a Wii, like all of the, like that season is nothing but fucking pure gold, man.
Yeah.
And it's all about heavy shit. So it comes and goes, and they're always playing on the social narrative to some degree.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely the last special is it definitely is worth watching. So
I had to get Paramount Plus with Showtime to watch The Curse, so
Yeah.
I'll probably
no, yeah, there you go.
watch
There
the
you go.
South Park special.
Yeah.
I also finally got to go to the theaters to see Poor Things. Speaking of Emma Stone, the new Emma Stone movie, directed by Yorgos Lanthimos. It's also starring Willem Dafoe and Mark Ruffalo. Mark Ruffalo is like the funniest part of the movie. He is just like an over the top, like dandy, like
Right.
privileged white boy. Just oh my god, he's so funny. The movie is like you guys. The guy who did Brazil, or what was the one you just watched? Fisher King.
Yeah,
That guy. Terry
Yeah.
Gilliam.
Yeah.
It feels very Terry
Okay.
Gilliam. The
That's
set
fine.
designs and costumes are all
it's
over the
funny
top.
that you would bring up Terry Gilliam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you watch it, Terry Gilliam?
No, well, yes and no.
Or you don't like Terry Gilliam?
No, I love Terry Gilliam.
Oh, okay, great.
No,
What's not to
you're
like?
talking to a guy who wants a fucking 12 Monkeys tattoo.
Yeah.
Man. Like,
Oh, that- okay, yeah.
I love Terry Gilliam.
Yeah, he's fucking awesome.
No, so skipping ahead, I wasn't gonna bring this up till later, but something I watched in anticipation for this episode was I went back and rewatched the original 3 Mad Max movies, and I think that George Miller is very Terry Gilliam-esque. I think
Yeah.
that their styles are like
Yeah.
very, very intertwined, and like
No, for sure.
like if you showed me a Terry Gilliam film and told me it was a George Miller film, I would believe you.
Yeah.
You know, like I feel that way.
You didn't.
about
Neither of
those
you
two guys.
watched his Terry Gilliam. Not Terry Gilliam's. George Miller's movie that came out. I think it was 2 years ago now. With Tilda Swinton and the guy from like The Dark Tower and Idris Elba. Idris Elba, where he's a genie. That's a George Miller movie, but it's super just like
Yeah.
fantastical.
I don't
and-
know this movie.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah,
Don't-
It's
sounds
a,
like I
it's a
would've
great
watched it.
movie.
it's a good movie. Do
It's
not
a
watch.
great movie about a genie.
Yeah, yeah,
Like this exists.
yeah. It's
Okay.
it's really like poetical, like not going for realism really at all.
Yeah.
But do not watch the trailer. The trailer for it is awful. But it's
Isn't that funny how that works? Like,
because the trailer is going like, this guy made Mad Max, and so
Yeah.
it's making it look like a fun action movie, and the movie's like a very quiet drama.
well, he's done a lot of that. So, George Miller, he wrote Babe. Like,
Yeah.
he's the writer for Babe
Yeah.
and Babe Pig in the City, which I think he actually directed Babe Pig in the City.
Yes, he did, and he directed Happy Feet.
Yeah, so he's got this weird thing for pigs and penguins.
I mean,
and it shows up in his film like quite a bit, honestly. Like even like Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, there's like a huge like
There's
pig.
pigs.
Yeah, it's a whole thing we'll get into later.
Yeah. He's talked about it in interviews. I think he just said, like, yeah, I had kids. I wanted to make movies they could watch. So he made, like, Happy Feet and Babe, you know?
Yeah.
Pretty fun.
Okay.
Yeah. But,
Guy mean Happy Feet?
he made Happy Feet.
Interesting.
And Babe,
Which
and
is
Babe
also
Pig in the City.
Yeah.
explains
He wrote both. He wrote and directed Babe Pig in the City.
Yeah. It explains the heavy environmental message in Happy Feet, for sure.
Yeah.
You got another one?
Yes. And this will also come up later if we want to. Oh, he directed both Happy Feets. Never mind.
No, he's a happy feet.
Something I want to talk about later if I had a segment idea. But I watched literally like right before I got here. I finished When Harry Met Sally for the first time.
Oh my god! Goddamn, you stole a pick from me. I hope that you're not about to shit on it because I love that fucking movie, dude.
No, I like it. I like it a lot. You know, I obviously disagree with like 90% of what what's his name's says. Why can I not think of the main
Billy
character?
Crystal?
Billy Crystal. Like everything his character says, I like totally disagree with. And
But he
he's like-
disagrees with himself.
yeah, he changes his mind. I love that.
I love the. I love how it shows because they meet each other in like 3 different time periods in their lives,
Yeah.
and like that movie to me showed me who Billy Crystal was because
Yeah.
it's like if you take away that movie, Billy Crystal doesn't have a career to me. Like that's Billy Crystal to me
For sure.
And like, I think that like when they first meet, like the youngest version of his character is fucking hysterical.
yeah.
I love it. He just doesn't give a shit about anybody or anything.
Yeah.
And like it's just like living and in the moment and like and then like as he becomes like an adult, he just like realizes how much of like a douche he was in his younger years. And like I love his whole arc and dynamic in that movie. There's not like I think it's the best romantic comedy ever made, and I think it's the pinnacle of what a romantic comedy should be.
The script and the editing and everything is like undeniable. It's like there's
yeah.
just some the New Year's Eve party like right at the end.
Yep.
Some of Meg Ryan's lines and stuff with the like smash cut away and stuff. Oh my god, it's so funny.
This is like Billy Crystal was so good in that movie that he survived Meg Ryan. That's how I feel. Like
you don't like Meg Ryan?
Like I think Meg Ryan is super whiny and annoying.
I mean,
like,
but they're both. I think the point is both of their characters.
Meg Ryan in the movie.
Yeah,
I think her character is like a sweetheart. You know, like she's perfect for that movie.
Uh-huh.
But in general, like Meg Ryan is exactly who he says her character is. You know, everything's
high maintenance who thinks she's low maintenance.
Yes, everything's on the side with her.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. She's just so fucking cute through that whole movie, though.
Oh yeah. Oh no, she is. She's very cute.
So
in that movie.
cute. Yeah. So I mean, I really liked it. You know,
I
thought
it's probably still going to be a pick for me in the future. I just think everybody should see it.
I'll have to keep a better list of things you say not to watch.
Yeah. That's. I mean, I didn't tell you not to watch it. It's cool. It's cool. But yeah,
I forgive you.
It was definitely on my short list. So it was probably going to be a few episodes. So it's good that you watched it. You never know. You could die tomorrow. So
I could,
and then you would have died having not seen When Harry Met Sally.
It's true.
So,
If I can be a ghost, I'm literally just going to come back as a ghost and just sit in a movie theater.
Dude, how many
I do, though, man.
if ghosts are real, how many ghosts are just
weird.
that?
It's weird that you say that you
I just sit in like a fucking whorehouse and just watch people fuck all day.
It's weird to me that you partially disliked Billy Crystal's character, because I fucking like his character is like.
Well, I think that's the point. Both their characters are supposed to be kind of obnoxious and unlikable in some ways.
Yeah.
Because they're very real characters. I love that.
Oh, his early character is like, I think it's the funniest thing he's ever done.
Yeah.
Like his early shit.
You know,
when he's like sitting in the car and he's got his like leg up and he's like eating a grape. And he spits a grape at the window and it just like the seed just sticks to the window and he's like looks over. He's like, I'll roll down the window.
Yeah.
From moment go. That movie.
Oh, when they're having like the talk about his relationship at the football game, and they occasionally stand up and help with the wave. It's like that's so fucking funny. It's like a great.
That's with his buddy, the Italian guy. I can't remember that actor's name. Also did the City Slickers franchise with him. That dude died though, like really young.
I wondered because I was like, I recognize the
Bruno
other
Kirby.
leads in
Bruno
this
Kirby.
I don't know
is
who
the
the hell
actor's
Bruno
name.
Kirby is.
No, he used to be in like all of the old like if you go back and watch all of the old 80s Billy Crystal movies, Bruno Kirby was in those movies, but then I want to say he died like in the mid 90s or something like that. Wow. So he just it's fucking crazy because he just stopped appearing with Billy Crystal and then Billy Crystal stopped appearing in film. So
yeah.
But anyway, a lot of people you see like he hosts the Oscars and stuff like that, but a lot of people don't realize like the brilliance of him. And I think that if you don't get Billy Crystal, then you've just never seen When Harry Met Sally. That's what I've always thought. So
yeah.
So that's a good one, man. Yeah, that's a fucking good one.
Yeah. Watched I did a few other rewatches of like some childhood favorites. I watched the 2003 Peter Pan that I think is like the best version of Peter Pan.
I've been kind of wanting to rewatch that myself, actually.
Yeah. The score in that's fantastic.
I'm not a kids movie guy, right?
Yeah.
So if you ask me what's my favorite version of Peter Pan, I know it's not like the most heralded movie ever, but and I can't remember who directed it, but Johnny Depp was in a movie called Finding Neverland. Finding Neverland. I really, really, really love that movie.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, but it kind of like was a telling of the
like kind of the origin of the creation.
It was supposed to be like a faux historical on the guy who wrote Peter Pan,
J.M. Barrie.
Yeah, and like the shit that was going on in his life that inspired it.
Right.
And so basically the story kind of happens like in his own life, even though it's, it's like fantasized up because he was just like a real creative guy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I always thought that like
that would be your favorite Peter Pan. That just would be.
Yeah, no, it's but the thing is, like, I think that movie's just really good. Anyway.
And then I watched Newsies.
Which one?
Jesus Christ.
Newsies.
Oh, no.
With Christian Bale.
It's a musical.
Oh, God.
Okay.
It's bad. I love some of the songs.
Christian Bale's like, what is he? Like, how old is he in that movie?
I'd say, I think he's like 16.
No, I was going to say 13.
No.
He's probably that's the one thing I would imagine he should never, ever do.
I mean, he sells it because he's a kid, but.
Sure, but that just doesn't. Maybe if you would have seen him when it came out, but knowing Christian Bale post that.
I grew up with it, so it's not that weird to me.
Yeah, for me it would be super weird because I can't imagine that would be.
That's a movie I've seen the most times without seeing, and what I mean is at Blockbuster we used to do inventory once a month.
Right. Yeah.
And literally inventory was 9 hours that starts at midnight and goes until 9 o'clock in the morning. And so we just take turns picking movies, but you were working, so you couldn't actually sit and watch the movie. So you were more looking up every once in a while, glancing
and listening to it.
So
it's kind of an obnoxious movie to listen to.
That's the thing we took turns doing picks, and it you got to know who got it and who didn't by who could pick a movie. somebody picks like Clerks, it's like that's a great fucking pick. That
Yeah.
movie, you don't need to watch that movie. You can listen to that movie and it'd be great. You know?
Yeah.
Shit like that. And it's just like, and somebody picks something like that, and it's just like,
You know what I think you're supposed to do is make a rule of no repeats.
Yeah.
Because like
That would have been
you can literally just cycle through the entire catalog and that's fine, but you have to watch the same movie against your will like twice in anything less than like 2 years.
What I did like to do though is when I got the late pick, where it was like 6 o'clock in the morning and everybody wanted to just like pass out, but we still had like 2 or 3 hours.
Put on the porno.
No, Pink Floyd, The Wall.
Yeah.
See,
oh
like,
God,
a musical isn't a terrible choice, but Newsies is a pretty bad choice.
Newsies.
No, I've never had an aversion to musicals. My family watched enough musicals when I was young that I don't mind it as long as
No,
it's
I
solid,
actually
you know?
like musicals.
Sometimes they're a bit much if it's a certain tone that
Yeah.
I'm good on, but like they can be fun.
My whole thing was there was like a little bit of influx that started with like Moulin Rouge, where like Hollywood was like, "Hey, musicals are in again," and so then it was just like
beat a dead horse for X amount of time.
Yeah.
it wasn't just beat a dead horse. It was the fact that like I felt like things were getting extra points for being musicals.
Sure.
It's just like,
Yeah.
hey, we're a musical, Chicago.
Yeah.
It's like
Right now we're in an era where studios apparently think it's like poison to advertise a movie as a musical because there's movies in theaters right now that if you watch a trailer for it, you can't tell it's a musical. But like The Color Purple is a musical. The new Mean Girls that's coming out is a musical.
Right.
It's like it's weird.
Well, it's weird to make. Yeah, no, that's really weird.
They're not even technically remakes. They're based on the stage production, like the Broadway musicals of these movies. And so it's just odd that you're like.
You know what I think would be cool? Like we need a slasher musical. We need.
There's some out there.
I'm not talking about like the Demon Barber. I'm talking about like let's get like Jason Voorhees.
That was
musical.
good. I think that was one of the last.
I've never
John
actually seen that
things.
That's one of the last good Tim Burton movies.
Yeah, it's very good. I think it's that was one of the last things that I really liked from Johnny Depp before he just became the most annoying person.
As far as musicals, I think La La Land is like
La La Land is very light.
Yeah.
Sweeney Todd is the kind where it's like it's 80% singing.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
like
a lot, but it does.
I really
work
like
really well.
Sweeney
It's
Todd.
very good. It's very good.
I-
It's been a long time since I've seen it. Actually,
Honestly,
Add this to the
I'm
list.
kind of a fan of a lot of movie musicals that people hate. Like I liked Les Mis. I liked
I don't think
Into the
I've never
Woods.
seen it.
You know,
So I've never seen. It's weird. I've not seen the musical Les Mis, but I have seen the movie Les Mis, the '90s Liam Neeson.
yeah.
I really enjoyed that movie, so I think it's fair. That
Last musical I watched was actually the Guillermo del Toro Pinocchio,
Oh yeah,
which was
I forgot that.
fucking
Yeah, that's-
really good.
Yeah,
Really good. The best
I like
telling
that.
of Pinocchio you could probably ever find.
Criterion just put that out in 4K.
It's fucking good.
Yeah,
it's
no,
really
it's a great
good.
movie.
It's heavy as fuck. It's very fucking heavy for it being a musical and it being Pinocchio. It's very fucking dark, but
Yeah.
it's Guillermo del Toro. So
you have more watches over there.
That's
Or-
that's kind of all I can
you
remember.
ran
That's
out of your
definitely
list.
the meat of it.
yeah, what do you got?
So I got I watched this movie called Booksmart, and this was off of Reese's birthday. Reese had like a thing on his birthday where they did like movies from dusk till dawn, basically.
Yeah.
Which
Didn't
oddly,
include
From Dusk Till Dawn was not one of the movies, which it probably should have been. But anyway, I had to do a wedding that day, and so I had like a whole wedding day, and I came in and I watched the Red Shoes. But right before I came in, they were just finishing a movie, and that movie was Booksmart, and they're like, "It's really good. You should watch it." So I finally did. I watched it with Molly. Really good. So it's one of these like teen comedies, John. Like,
Yeah.
but like as the name would suggest, it's a little bit smarter than your average teen comedy.
Sure.
And
It's,
like,
I think it was the common comparison was like it's the female version of the Jonah Hill Michael Cera movie.
okay, I think it's a little smarter than that.
Which one? Which one is that?
Superbad.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But no, I agree. It's smarter because it's newer, right? It's more literally like open-minded.
The thing that it made me think of, what's the HBO series we like with the teens that
Euphoria.
Euphoria, right?
Yeah.
So Euphoria. The thing I like about Euphoria is, forever Hollywood's been doing this thing where they cast like 28-year-olds to play 12 and 13-year-olds.
Yeah.
Right.
And like if you go back to when we were like when I was a kid in the 80s, and you watch all those 80s movies, and they the way that they portray teenagers, it's like they're like teenagers are just like fucking kids, you know?
Right.
And like
I don't know. Some of them. Okay, I feel like if anyone under the age of 16, they would cast accurately. Anyone between the ages of like 16 or 20, they just got it like a 30-year-old.
My point is the thing that I like about Euphoria is that it kind of, while they're doing the same thing, they're using like 28-year-olds to play 18-year-olds or whatever. They're doing it for a purpose, which is like teenagers are actually adults, right? And like I've gotten in trouble for telling friends before. It's like, oh my God, if somebody ever might, how old's your daughter? 17. Yeah, she's not a virgin. You know, I grew up as a teen. I know how teenagers are, and they're like they're fucking adults. And like I like that we've gotten to a point where we can not like pretend that doesn't exist, right? That like teenagers aren't sexual, or that teenagers don't say fuck.
Yeah.
You know, like things like that, you know, like where it's just really real. And I think that Booksmart is a little bit more of that than what like Superbad is.
So
Superbad's just kind of like a dick and fart joke thing.
But they're getting like people who probably are 19, 20, 21, but they look very young. So they really sell like that is a high school.
Which probably should be a little easier now. I mean, with the, like, I would imagine that there's probably more access to kids delving into that field.
I mean, look at Jenny Ortega. She could probably play a teenager for like another 5 years. She just looks so young.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think, casting in that way has gotten so much better. What was the other one I just
John was actually pissed off that Christina Ricci wasn't going to play Wednesday and Wednesday.
No. Well, I was pissed off that the story was a reboot of it. What I wanted out of that was to see just a later Christina Ricci Wednesday when she's grown, when she's an adult, not a teen.
Oh yeah. You wanted like an actual sequel to the...
Yes, I didn't want a teen rendition of it. Because I don't... So there's
the Addams clan to live on. And
there's a space everyone can identify with teen drama, right? Because it's such an integral part of the human experience. We can always go back to it. There's always an amount of identifiable material that you can pull from, but it still, to a degree, gets fucking tedious a lot of the time. And I don't know. So there's some really good teen-oriented stuff out there that I can identify with.
Sex Education is another one with the good casting.
No, exactly. Good casting, and it just handles a lot of things in a lot of good ways, and it's not... Yeah. By the last season, it got a little bit more like the danger with teen drama is it running in fucking roundabouts forever.
Yeah.
And that's when it starts to suck. Like that's what happened to Cobra Kai, is that it became a bunch of like redundant, just circular teen drama.
It got you with the nostalgia at first, and then it had nothing else to lean on once it ran out.
Yeah, well, and it's fine. It's fine that it's teen drama, but like if it just goes in circles, who gives a shit? So it still has to be interesting. It still has to be gripping. If you just keep doing the same thing over and over again,
that's kind of why I hate. I think Stranger Things is so watchable. It is very entertaining. But it's like, I don't think it's had really any story integrity since like season 1.
I don't think so. I think
it's just the same thing over and over and over.
Well, again. But it's not, that doesn't necessarily, so for Stranger Things, I think they've handled the teen element pretty well because they don't lean that hard on the teen drama in it. They do, it has been the same story the entire time. But I think they've done a good enough job of not hyper-focusing on the petty teen drama amidst this world-ending thing. I think the last season was probably a little bit more into that.
Speaking of
than I liked.
anthology shows, I have said since the beginning, I think Stranger Things, they originally were, it was going to be an anthology.
Yeah.
And it was going to, that story was going to end with season 1.
Right.
And it's called Stranger Things, right? Next season was going to be a completely new story, completely new cast.
That would have been great.
But that
would
was
have been
so
fantastic.
popular that they're like, no, let's sell these characters.
Yeah, no,
That's what I think was going to
I can agree with you to a point that there's an amount of that has been redundant, but I don't think it applies to the teen stuff as much.
No.
I think they handle the teen stuff well enough that, like, it's present, the teen drama is present, but it's not, like, the fucking shtick that the whole thing is based on. A lot of shows like Cobra Kai, like, by season 3, that's the only thing that show is about, is the same dumbass teen drama that you've been watching the entire time. And that's when it fucking kills it. So I'm hesitant about teen stuff. And modern teens, I don't know, not to be an asshole, but a lot of the time they annoy me. I'm an old man.
You probably wouldn't like Euphoria.
I maybe. I don't know.
I bet you would like Euphoria.
I'll give it a shot.
It's like nothing
fucking raw,
but
dude.
teen drama. Like
As long as it's relatable. That's what I'm saying. Like, I can relate to teen drama if it's like it's from
the teen
interesting
drama is like
characters.
fucking real though. It's not like it's not teen drama like, oh, fucking buddy doesn't like me and might not invite me to the dance. It's not.
No, it's like fucking evil blackmail and shit.
No, it is. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And so that's the thing. If as long as it's relatable, because
Dude,
I do agree.
I actually think it would be very relatable for you, especially with some of the things that I know that you've dealt with in in your life and stuff. I think you dig it.
No, that's one of my gripes with modern living is that people want to, like, teens are adults and they have been for all of human history. You dial back 300-400 years when people lived until they were like maybe 45.
Yeah.
When you're 15, you probably have a family. You may have gone to war. You may have built your own house by that time, and like.
I mean, like literally,
and that's what I'll say is
Mary, Mother of God, was like 14 years old.
Exactly.
You can say what you want about Euphoria, but they treat the teenagers like adults.
Yeah, no,
that's what is refreshing about it.
It's like not even that. It's like they were like they give the weight to the teen drama that teens feel like their drama has.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
Well, it's from the inside out, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not told from an adult point of view; it's told from their point of view.
Yeah.
And so everything is everything.
And the main character is a drug addict who's like 16 years old. So like
it's OD'd like 3 times.
Yeah, like that's your main character. I mean, it's told from a very serious inside out point of view. That's what I really love about the series.
Yeah.
So okay, so we got off track here.
We're way off
that
track.
was Booksmart.
Booksmart.
I also saw a movie called The Guilty, which I didn't really know existed before, but it's by Antoine Fuqua, who did Training Day.
Oh.
This also is a remake, I found out and doing a little research, but it's starring Jake Gyllenhaal and a bunch of people I've never seen on camera before. But the whole shtick is, and everything I read said that this movie is dog shit, and that the original that was made in some other country that's not the United States is the one that you should watch. It's French.
Yeah.
So the whole shtick is that he's like kind of a police officer who did something bad, and so he's like basically been put on like a 911 call dispatch as like a punishment, and like he gets this call and it's some chick who's like held prisoner pretending that she's calling her daughter, and like so it's this whole like kind of mystery thing. It mostly takes place in one room, like him like being the dispatch. He's kind of his character's kind of a dick, honestly.
Yeah, I mean he's a cop, so
yeah.
Who's playing the cop?
That's Jake Gyllenhaal.
Okay, I can get behind it.
But anyway, it was a decent movie. Like performance wise, like the shots were fine for it being in one.
Yeah, you can't do
one space. There's not a whole lot
cinematography you can do there.
Yeah.
I thought I don't know. I guess I'd have to see the original. I thought that the plot was actually kind of predictable. Like I kind of like figured out what was gonna happen before it happens.
Well, yeah,
And,
I
like,
generally
that's
avoid
always, like,
those kinds of setups for films because they just defaultly,
Man,
most of the time, usually are.
Like bottle episode movies can just be so good. 12 Angry Men.
Oh yeah, no, 12 Angry Men is
yeah,
so good.
You know,
but
they
if
can be
it's-
like the greatest a movie
But-
can be.
but-
I've
that's
long
like-
been a
that's a
proponent of a
very-
movie called The Big Kahuna, which is basically 3 guys in a room.
But that's not necessarily like it's leading up to a thing, but it's not a mystery. To create like
That's true.
you know,
There's
a
not,
mystery.
it's just a story. There's not
yeah,
like
exactly.
a twist.
Like because then it's like, okay, I know what this is, and I know it's just going to be these guys, and I'm here
Yeah.
for the experience of what this is. But when you add a mystery to it, it's all. And when it's that insular, it's always fucking predictable.
Honestly, if I remember, like he does end up like going out to like try and help the person, right? Like like the last like 10 minutes of the movie is like not in the room, right? Something.
No,
like that.
no, it's pretty much all in the room.
Okay.
It's pretty much all in the room. He's got like a partner that he gets to be like his like, dude, go to this house, rip down the fucking door.
Yeah.
See what you get. Like, I mean, he
And
basically
he's
gets
just on
his
the phone
old
with
partner
him
to
the whole
do
time.
all the actionable things for
Okay,
him. But
okay, yeah.
the entire movie is basically him in this dispatch.
Yeah, I watched it right away because I am a Gyllenhaal fan, but he's been kind of really disappointing me with his choices the last like 4 or 5 years.
No,
So-
Ivan, did you watch Velvet Buzzsaw?
I did.
That was a pretty interesting.
Yeah, that
So
was an
this
interesting
is not going to do me any favors, but like here's the thing. I like Jake Gyllenhaal. I really do. I think Jake Gyllenhaal's been overrated for a while now. I just want to throw that out there.
Well,
I like him. I don't
mean,
dislike
that-
him. I just think he's been overrated for a while.
That may or may not be true. I don't know.
I think
don't
that his
pay-
sister is a bigger draw to a movie. for
I
me.
don't pay any
I think
attention to
I think his sister is a better actor than he is.
overall perception
throw that out there.
of artists myself. I just don't. I don't follow any of it, so I don't know if the guy would be overrated. My opinion of Jake Gyllenhaal is simply my own perspective and opinion of what I've seen him in and what he's done. So for me, I've just liked most of what he's done, so I'm excited about that. But
Yeah.
him being
I think
overrated, that might be true. I don't know.
he had just a really great streak of interesting movies. Trying to get to, which is hard because Letterboxd is still not working. Here we go. And he was like fantastic in all of them.
So like the Nightcrawler,
Zodiac,
Nightcrawler was fucking
Jarhead,
amazing.
Brokeback Mountain, Source Code, End of Watch, Prisoners,
End of Watch was really
Enemy, Nightcrawler. Like those are like some of the best movies
good. Yeah.
of the last
Nightcrawler's
20
fucking
years.
fantastic.
And then he just switched to only playing like Southpaw. He's a boxer, and then
which by the way, that movie is actually really fucking good.
yeah, I actually just bought the Blu-ray or the 4K was on sale for like $5 over Black Friday.
You haven't seen that movie yet?
I haven't seen it. No,
Save that one. Save that one. Like
Okay.
that's actually a movie I really fucking enjoy.
but like, okay, he still makes some good, interesting stuff.
I'll tell
Like,
you who's good in
Oakjaw?
Southpaw.
You watch Oakjaw?
I love
Oh,
Oakjaw.
yeah.
He's in Oakjaw.
I
I'll
love
tell you who's
Oakjaw,
good in
dude.
Southpaw. Who is kind of a character? Fucking Forrest Whitaker. Forrest Whitaker is in Southpaw, and his character is fucking awesome.
I've not experienced a lot of like.
Like Forrest Whitaker, where you were like, yeah, that's
Oh
good.
man, I
Forrest-
get it. You know,
No,
he's
no.
like only does like critically acclaimed stuff, but it's like,
here's the thing with Forrest Whitaker. He is kind of a character actor. You get
Yeah.
the same dude every time.
yeah,
You get kind of like the squint and like the
the
like the lazy eye kind of thing. Like you get that, but I think he puts those skills to his best use in Southpaw. He is basically the Mickey for this Rocky Balboa. Like he's the trainer and mentor.
Good
And,
to know.
yeah,
I
it's-
won't watch it.
Yeah, good flick. Good flick. I dig it a lot.
It just seems like he's mainly moved to playing soldiers, cops, and athletes, and it's just kind of
So Velvet Buzzsaw was very much
the other
not
thing I
that.
love
Yeah,
about
yeah.
the thing I really love about Southpaw, I think it's his best performance.
Yeah.
Because he plays so like
Have you seen Nightcrawler?
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
going to say,
I've seen Nightcrawler.
I think that just trumps it completely. His performance in Nightcrawler
No,
is crazy. I need to watch that movie.
I actually
Yeah.
think it's Southpaw. He plays the like Rocky Balboa character. He plays the like I'm just a dumb jock. Like I make millions of dollars every fight to get punched in the face. and like that's cool because I've got millions of dollars for people to pamper me after the fight, and like
Right.
and like the whole movie is like his wife is like the brains of the operation. Like he does these fights, makes money. She's not really his manager, but she might as well be because
Right.
she's the one making all the financial decisions in the household. Like,
Right.
no, you're not taking that fight. That's stupid. Like, I mean, she is all intents and purposes his manager, even though she's not his manager. You know,
Right.
like she's the one dealing with his manager, and like the whole movie is like, so dude, like multi-million-dollar athlete. He's kind of a dummy, gets hit in the head all the time. Badass in the ring. He's kind of like grew up as like a kind of a thug life, and he plays that role perfectly in this movie. And like then wife dies, so now all of a sudden you have to do everything.
Right.
You have to do the money. You have to be a father.
Right.
You know, like you have to
there's no more
you have to
safety
live
net.
up to your wife who kept like things
Yeah.
running in the household while you
Oh,
were
no, that sounds like it. I would love to see
it's
that
a really
performance.
fucking good
Yeah,
movie.
I would
It's a
love to
really
see
good
that
premise,
performance.
and like,
I mean,
you know,
like it,
I think boxing movies got a little oversaturated.
yeah.
And it's so much more than a boxing movie.
Yeah.
And that's
Which
what
I would,
really good.
if he were involved, that's what I would expect.
Yeah.
I love the dude. I think he's done everything that I've seen. I've enjoyed his performance in pretty much everything I've seen.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
I'll
honestly,
stand
yeah,
by him.
I've not really disliked. I mean, I've disliked movies he's in, but I've never been like, oh, what are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah,
with
I
this one,
Oh.
you know.
So as far as like this is the longest what have
Yeah.
you guys been watching segment we've ever done? I've got 4 more. And these need to be discussed.
By the way, Christian Bale was 17 when in the movie.
Okay.
Newsies.
So was Newsies before or after Empire of the Sun?
Gotta be
After.
after. Yeah, I was
After?
gonna
He's
say.
like 12.
Is
Yeah.
Empire of the Sun is that like introducing?
I think it's his
that's
first movie, yeah.
It's definitely his first lead. I don't know. And he might have had some bit roles or something.
But anyway,
He was good in that,
I watched
too. I
and,
remember
and,
watching
and
that
Reese,
and
this
being like,
is
damn, this guy's 12.
if for all you loyal listeners, you might remember that in the last episode, Reese was talking very highly about a film called Godzilla -1.
Mhm.
So I took the old wife out to watch Godzilla -1 on New Year's Day.
You took your old wife out. Why
Yeah,
didn't you
the
take your
old,
new one?
not there's no D. It's
Yeah.
the old
The
wife,
old,
the old wife,
Golden Triangle.
the old wife Reno.
wife.
You know, her wifeness. You're not into that whole brevity thing. But anyway, very good suggestion, Reese. What I love about the movie, I thought that the like giant lizard was kind of like secondary. Like the story was really good.
Yeah.
The like just the foray into Japanese culture, specifically like the kamikaze pilot, and like how the main character is like a kamikaze pilot who like
Survived
the
Yeah.
war, which is like the worst thing you could
For
be
a Japanese person, absolutely.
yeah.
Those motherfuckers dwell on
Yeah.
shame. That is our whole culture.
Yeah, it's just like he's like
That would be the worst. Jesus.
He's coming back to cities that were like bombed to
Yeah.
rubble, and people are like,
Yeah.
oh, "Wait, you're alive, so it's your fault that the city
Yeah,
got bombed."
yeah.
yeah, and that's what the movie like deals with, and like
Yeah.
that's kind of the best part about it.
No, that's awesome.
Uh,
I mean, the fact that you could probably take Godzilla out of the movie and it's still a great movie.
No,
is
yeah,
like-
100%,
Literally,
100%.
Godzilla could be, just a bomb. It could,
Yeah.
it could be soldiers. It could be anything. really.
Which,
Yeah.
at the end of the
Just
day,
as
when Godzilla was fucking written first, like he
Yeah.
is just a bomb. He's
Yeah.
the analogy for the bomb,
Yeah.
so
Oh yeah,
it
it's
just
so
brings it back
fucking good.
home.
Yep, but very good. And then 3 more. In preparation for today's feature, I rewatched Mad Max, The Road Warrior, and Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, which
So the order is Mad Max, The Road Warrior, and then Beyond, right?
and Beyond
Okay.
Thunderdome,
So
right?
Those are on my list to rewatch like this week.
the Road Warrior is not called Mad Max: The Road Warrior, right? It's just called the Road Warrior.
It's so if you look it up on like Letterboxd, it's called like it's either like the Road Warrior : Mad Max 2 or Mad Max 2 : the Road Warrior.
Yeah.
But I've always known the movie as the Road Warrior, so
Yeah.
I don't know if
I
that's
would-
been added somewhere
I
along
would
the
assume
line.
it's like A New Hope, where it was just released as
Yes.
Star Wars, and they kind of tacked it on later when they realized.
Yeah, when they're like,
Wait,
we're
it's
gonna
a
do more of
franchise.
these, so
Yeah,
let's differentiate.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. So like all four of these movies, all four of the existing Mad Max movies, which we have 2 more on the way. All four of the existing ones, it was great to get a refresh, get some insight, and I noticed actually some parallels between all 4 of them, and it's given me some hope and also some concerns for the next 2. So let's get into the feature. This leads right into it, and I will talk about the original 3 as needed as we kind of get into this. So
awesome.
Reese, this was your pick, yes?
That's my pick.
Yeah.
I gotta see if just for the tagline. No, Letterboxd is still not working.
Letterboxd, it was working for you a second ago. Go ahead and continue.
But yeah,
if
you can bring it up.
I will look it up. I'm sure it's terrible, whatever it is.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. But
I'm sure it's something like vroom vroom.
I mean, I think it's something. It has something like mad in it.
Yeah.
It's like only the mad survive here or some shit like that.
Yeah.
We know what we're dealing with.
Vroom, vroom. Yeah, I picked Mad Max Fury Road from 2015, directed by George Miller, starring
Are you going to use this voice the whole time?
Tom Hardy
really
and Charlize Theron. And a few others. Nicholas Hoult, I guess, also is the kind of the
Worst
third lead.
movie ever.
Worst movie ever. Too much
He's going with the
CGI.
comic book. I'm just going to do the comic book the guy voice for the rest of the episode.
No,
Worst
God, no.
movie ever.
You know, like I said last week.
Oh! I've got the tagline. Yeah.
Hear it.
What a lovely day.
You know what? All right, I can get
It
behind that.
kind of works. The one that's on the poster, and this is the one I was thinking of, is "The Future Belongs to the Mad," and I think
All right.
that's a
yeah,
pretty good
that's pretty
tagline.
solid. Yeah, that's good. I like that.
What a lovely day.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
what
know.
a day!
Yeah.
Yeah, like I
Do
said.
you want me to read the letterbox?
Yeah, if you have it, read the synopsis.
An apocalyptic story set in the furthest reaches of our planet, in a stark desert landscape where humanity is broken, and most everyone is crazed, fighting for the necessities of life. Within this world exist 2 rebels on the run who just might be able to restore order.
Yeah.
Takes place in Australia in the year 2000.
Yeah.
This one doesn't actually identify as Australia.
It doesn't.
We would assume
But if you're
so.
on Australia and
the
the
thing
apocalypse
is,
happens, I think you're
judging
gonna stay on
by
Australia.
judging by everyone's accents, it's either Australia or Europe, or maybe South Africa.
I mean, Furiosa. Well, okay.
Everyone's
Charlize
fucking
Theron-
British.
Charlize Theron is actually from South Africa.
Right.
So, like,
Yes.
But I'm just saying, it's literally like the families. So I really dug the setup for this universe for this
Yeah.
one, but it comes down to basically the world you're seeing unfold in this action story is basically born from the post this whatever apocalypse it was. What's left that maintains this world that you get to see basically are 3 presumably crime families,
yeah.
but they're all fucking British.
Warlords.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
that's
warlords,
true, yeah.
and they're all of British accent or some degree of European descent. So it's got to be the setting doesn't make any sense in Europe. Well, I mean, if it's a fucking post-nuclear apocalypse, it could be anywhere. But yeah, you're gonna
I would
think.
say if it's made by an Australian filmmaker,
You'd think
then
Australia. I'm just saying.
the setting
Yeah.
of Australia with evil British people
Yeah.
really makes sense.
I would
No,
like
it
to.
does.
I would
I
like
think
to
that just drives
interject
it
a
home.
moment here. John, hold that thought. I'd like to interject a little bit here on the setting.
Yeah.
So, having rewatched the original 3 Mad Max movies, and I knew that I had seen some
Having just rewatched the first 3 Mad Max movies.
worst movies ever. So it'd been like honestly over 30 years since I watched.
Yeah,
these
it's been a
movies.
goddamn grip for me.
Is when I was a kid. And I actually wasn't sure which ones I had seen, and the one that I thought was Beyond Thunderdome was actually The Road Warrior. And having rewatched Beyond Thunderdome, I don't think I'd ever seen the movie before.
Yeah.
That's fun.
But anyway, so within the last week, I have watched all 4 existing Mad Max movies. And what I can say is that the setting for each is completely independent of each other film.
Yeah.
Each film has its own personality.
No, that's for sure.
And
I'm not saying that.
I don't know. I found that really interesting because the first Mad Max, it is not a wasteland at all.
Right.
It's basically a buddy cop like a buddy cop movie in Australia. At one point, the wife takes the kid to go get ice cream.
Right.
I mean, that's not happening in any of the other movies. Let me tell you.
No, everything I'm saying about where that Fury Road is happening is just based on the information in the film.
No, I was just saying I wasn't trying to take away from anything you were saying, John. I was just trying to say that I think that what George Miller has demonstrated in these 4 films is that like each one has been independent of the others.
I would imagine the most connection would probably be between the Road Warrior and Thunderdome.
I would guess it's. Oh, that's exactly.
Yeah, that's where I would imagine there would be the strongest
because
connection.
both the world is already set up.
Yeah.
And Mad Max is not like a super mysterious.
It depends. So between Mad Max and the Road Warrior, at the beginning of the Road Warrior, they kind of do some flashback scenes of the first movie. Basically setting up this is why he's mad kind of a thing, right?
Sure.
And the biggest parallels between the Road Warrior and Beyond Thunderdome are that there are 2 characters other than Max that are in the Road Warrior that come with him to Beyond Thunderdome, and it's like his his buddy who's like the guy who like the guy who does the flying machines, and then who I'm guessing is supposed to be the like feral child that was in the Road Warrior that had the boomerang, although he looks much less feral in this one.
He got better.
He learned how to shave.
He's been domesticated, I guess. He's got a less shaggy haircut, and he's no longer carrying around.
He's got a metal fucking blade boomerang.
He's no longer carrying around a boomerang in this movie.
Oh, okay,
so he's
never
been
mind.
domesticated
That all
to the
goes to
point
shit.
where
That all goes to shit. I thought he was just shaving.
No, it does all go to shit. Also, his buddy who with the flying machines in the Road Warrior, this dude has got like his teeth are so falling out, they're like black all the time. And like, I'll be damned if in like Beyond Thunderdome, this dude didn't have the nicest set of pearly whites I've ever seen. I don't know if all of a sudden they've had a resurgence and there's been like a dentist in the area and this guy's got some work done.
They dug up some corpses with ivory teeth.
Kid, like, I mean, they all look much more well off than what they did in the previous movie, which actually
even
doesn't
Mad
track.
Max, right?
Yeah, which actually doesn't track with the way that the series goes. Right? So like, if you think about it, the first one is not even a wasteland. I mean, honestly, it's literally just they're in Australia.
Right.
And then the second one is just like, okay, it's all about gasoline and whoever controls the gas controls, everything. Right. And then in Beyond Thunderdome, it all becomes about methane, and methane is the gas that fuels everything. And so it's all about who controls methane. And then by the time we get to this film that Reese chose, it's all about water. And so it's just like, it's more like now it's about survival. It used to be like get around. Now it's like,
I mean,
you're just down to the core basic, like, we need to fucking survive. You know?
Well, they just themed like it's still survival amongst those.
Yeah.
Like with gasoline, it's still like because that's the thing.
Yeah. It's gasoline town.
In an apocalypse, fuel would be survival, especially in a goddamn wasteland. Like it tracks well enough. The shifting from gasoline to methane seems arbitrary, but I mean it's natural that it would come back to water.
Yeah.
Especially after so long.
It makes the most sense in a wasteland, but each movie sets up its own kind of wasteland. Like,
oh yeah, for sure.
There's no way that like, first off, I want to say that like, I watched Fury Road in the theater and walked out thinking that's like the best action movie ever made.
Yeah.
But after having gone back and rewatched the 3 original Mad Max movies, I don't know if it's my favorite Mad Max movie.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't. I actually think The Road Warrior might actually be the best
That's
Mad Max
probably
movie.
where I would go.
Like
is that.
it doesn't have the visual appeal, obviously. Like technically nobody's touching Fury Road, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
There's
I don't-
just,
so that's the thing for
it's
me.
not comparable. Like technically it's kind of hard
Dude,
to.
I guess, but so all right. So for me,
We're talking about technically.
I know.
That's all we're talking about.
Yeah,
I
but
know,
that
I'm
was
talking-
kind of his one complaint.
that
He didn't
is-
like the CGI.
exactly. Like my complaint about Fury Road is the technical complaint. I assumed Fury Road. I hadn't watched it, and I assumed right off the bat that it would have nothing to do with the others. That's been my assumption since I've known that film's existence. I assumed it was a reboot. I assumed it had nothing to do. There was going to be no tie or connection to the others, and there really wasn't. It was pretty much a reboot.
It does have ties to the others, but also
More like homages instead of a tie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, an homage is different than an actual direct link to a previous story.
It's weird I'm saying this. I actually, since rewatching the original 3 films, I want to go back and watch Fury Road again.
Sure.
Specifically for the scenes where they're referencing, they kind of, so the Max that we're dealing with in this movie is different than the Max in the other movies, to where he's not necessarily like the central character.
Yeah.
He's a central character, but he's not like.
Well, they gave
It's like
him
the story is happening around him.
Yes.
well, and
Almost
they
instead of
kind
to
of
him.
it kind of harkens back to the buddy cop idea. Like him and Charlize Theron pretty much kind of become buddy cops to a degree.
But they kind of reference like the ghosts that walk with him, and like he's kind of this like shell of the guy he was before. He's been doing it for a long time, and like the people he couldn't save or whatever, like the ghosts of those people are following him around. Having rewatched the original 3 movies, I want to go back for those scenes, the scenes where they're like showing the like cutaways to like the ghosts and like the things that are in his head.
Mostly just like a little girl that was his daughter.
Yeah, I just want to see like the visuals of how those harken back to the original 3 films.
Sure.
That's something I'm really curious about after watching the original 3. Because that is the one thing that ties all the movies together is just like that aspect. But as far as like actual settings, the wastelands don't make any sense. Together.
Well, and again, like I don't think that this movie is like supposed to actually literally tie to it. I just like.
I mean, but I think it is, but I think that, like I said, each one has their own personality. So from Mad Max to the Road Warrior, like it's almost like at least 100 years has gone by.
Sure.
Like if you look at the wasteland that exists in Mad Max and the wasteland that exists in the Road Warrior, it's at least 100 years of deterioration. But like literally, Mel Gibson has aged like 2 years.
Yeah, and that's just bad planning on the people that wrote and produced the movie. I would say for that back then,
But I mean, you could say that, but it continues. If you go from the Road Warrior to Beyond Thunderdome, there's another jump, right?
Yeah.
Like it starts to get more and more desolate as the new movies come out.
Right. But it makes, I'm sure it probably feels a little bit more natural and makes a little bit more sense from the Road Warrior to Thunderdome than from Mad Max to Road Warrior. Like, I feel like they did a thing and then kind of just had an idea and like, okay, let's pursue this, and we don't care that much about the specifics and the actual like fucking connections. Like now we have a new idea.
I feel like the most comparable franchise to this one is the Evil Dead franchise, in that it feels like pretty early on they kind of were like, we don't really care about like the super specifics of the two.
No, and actually, like with what you're saying about
I would have
Road Warrior,
said Star Wars.
But Star Wars is so like detail and specific and oriented of like, well, this one happened exactly
it's not as
so,
but like as far as the worlds though, it kind of feels kind of Star Warsy to me.
So aside from the world though, like I like that analogy just because how Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, because that's the thing I hate about Evil Dead 2 is that like they make it's a sequel, but it's not really a sequel. It's basically a redo where they reference a thing. Like really, Evil Dead 2, 20 minutes into Evil Dead 2, 30 minutes into Evil Dead 2, it should have just like, fuck those first 20, 30 minutes, attach that to the end of Evil Dead, and then there you go. Like,
Yeah.
all that extra bullshit in the beginning, like, doesn't even actually track or fucking make any sense. Like, it wasn't a sequel. They redid it, and then I know, it was weird.
But I mean,
so,
but that's the thing. Then
yeah,
you get
they
to
just didn't give a shit.
Army of Darkness, and you're like, oh, like fuck the rules. They just want to do whatever they want,
but
and,
at least,
and it works.
But at least, Army, and this is what I was saying, where I would imagine that Road Warrior would mesh better with Thunderdome is because Evil Dead 2 meshes better with Army of Darkness. Where Evil Dead 1 like has no connection to Army of Darkness.
I also just want to throw this out here while we're on the subject. Thunderdome is a piece of shit. Like
I could imagine. I could imagine it would be.
Thunderdome is a fucking train wreck.
Well, see, why I was able to enjoy Thunderdome though is
it's probably just super over the top and goofy.
As far as the stunts go, it's like it's the closest to Fury Road as far as how big and over the top the stunts get. Because there are huge car chases and.
I got much more of a Fury Road feeling from the Road Warrior than I did from Beyond Thunderdome.
I'm talking about like filmmaking wise, though.
Yeah.
You know, I think the colors, the colors.
Dude, I'm telling you, Beyond Thunderdome is not a well-made movie. Like this thing is like leaking from every orifice. Like. The casting is bad.
Oh, they were like, just. I think at that point they were probably just banking on.
They got Tina Turner.
Yeah. Well, exactly. They got Tina fucking Turner. They were just banking on making it a big thing. Just an experience.
The credit sequence. The credit sequence is like the most '80s music you'll ever hear. Like it's like. You know, it's like Air Supply or something like that. You know, it's so like from seriously like I'm all out of love.
From your description of those first three films,
it wasn't Tina Turner. It was somebody like Air Supply. It was somebody with a dude who sounds like he's not a dude.
From your description of the first three movies, I would say and I would think, and I'm gonna go back and watch these movies myself, hopefully this week. Is that like Fury Road? Pretty much just like took pieces and parts from all these things and made a movie out of these first three movies.
Yeah.
Like was inspired by pieces of these first three films to make a new film to be a jump off point. And it was good. It was fucking fantastic. And I think that was the right thing to do, was to kind of pull a little bit where it was applicable and what was good from these other movies. So, you know, with Thunderdome, while it was a shitty film, I think Thunderdome was probably more about just the experience, like Reese is saying, of the stunts and of the crazy shit.
Well, the other thing that Thunderdome did that really hurt it was it did this whole, like, you know, he escapes the bad guys and is found by this clan of, like, all children. And, like, this has been done before. It's just, like, this post-apocalyptic, like, fucking gang of... children
who
and it's
like tell stories about the old times, like
and so like so now you're relying on a whole bunch of children to carry your movie, and like it's just children aren't good actors, and
especially
so it becomes kind of cheesy.
Well, it's dude. At the end of the day, a lot of post-apocalyptic stuff is just a lot of it's redundant.
Yeah,
it's really dangerous ground for filmmaking, honestly, because like to do something really good and really interesting is hard, because like
this is
a lot of why the like standards are kind of pitfall traps.
Yeah.
This is why George Miller is a genius and Mad Max is awesome, is because he changed the rules for how we do post-apocalyptic, right? Like I can make the complaint that like Mad Max doesn't even look like a wasteland. Like it's literally just in Australia. They go to an ice cream parlor or something. You know, like, but like he had a vision for what a post-apocalyptic would be, and like maybe he didn't have the resources or the money like to do it in that first movie, but in the second movie he did, in the Road Warrior, and it's just like this is what he was thinking. This is what he wanted. And I think that in the third movie and Beyond Thunderdome, I think that that's something we talked about in the last episode, where like you get new technology, you get like you get all these new, like, it's you've had two successful movies at this point. They throw a little money at you. It's like, whoa, where can I find places? Oh, let's get Air Supply to do the fucking soundtrack. You know, I don't even know if it was Air Supply.
You know, I mean, it's Tina Turner and then like a crappy 80s band, right? So I feel like Beyond Thunderdome feels like it was spoiled by trying to sell it to a wider audience.
And that's what happens when
worse than like any of the other movies.
When franchises get rolling, it happens all the time. There's all kinds of franchises where like somebody in the production, like maybe they were able to keep the director, but some amount of the production like fucking jump ship, and now it got gobbled up by some other people trying to sell it to somebody else, and so shit can get compromised in no time at all, you know, and things can become a completely different animal just from a few key components being missing. So
Beyond Thunderdome, I will agree, kind of feels like Fury Road in the fact that like the kind of like the bad guys, like where he ends up is in a community that's built up like on a mountain, which
Right.
that I could, like it kind of had that vibe of Fury Road where like they're actually going up. You know,
and so that's like I said, I think that what they did with Fury Road was just kind of pulled pieces from all the Mad Max.
Yeah, like honestly, when I
set up a better new universe for it to exist in.
Yeah, I didn't watch Thunderdome until like last year.
Yeah,
and when I watched it, I kind of felt like, oh, it's like Fury Road take one. Like he kind of was trying to do what he ended up like doing here, but he didn't really have the resources or maybe not even the freedom to like actually make it.
I definitely think that it's a good thing that Fury Road is a great thing for the franchise because it's not. There's plenty of reboots, but it's actually, I think this is a good example of like a needed, and like maybe not needed, but I don't know, from what you're telling me about fucking Thunderdome, like maybe it was needed, but an appropriate reboot that has a lot of positive legs to it. Yeah. That it could become something really cool if done well.
I think Fury Road. So here's where I stand on the series. Right, I think Fury Road was like, this is the first time he's actually had the resources to do what he wanted to do in the beginning.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, sure. Yeah.
And honestly, who's to say otherwise? Because at this point, the movies that he made, are kind of like the pinnacle for what a post-apocalyptic movie is in today's world. So, I mean, he fucking
they're definitely
created it, man. Like if the Road Warrior, if Mad Max and the Road Warrior aren't like, I don't know what movie came before those that is like more important to the like post-apocalyptic.
No, he was the
genre than what those two movies are, and so to me, he's the godfather of that genre. And so I guess my biggest thing is we know that there are two movies upcoming that are both prequels to Fury Road. One of them is called Furiosa, which kind of follows
May. And honestly, it looks fantastic.
Yeah, which follows a very young, Charlize Theron's character when she's very young.
Still has her arm.
And then after that, we're going to get another prequel, which takes place about 1 year before Fury Road, which is going to be just Tom Hardy's Mad Max character in his fucking car and like in the desert.
What's that one called?
That one is called The Wasteland.
So I hope
is that like in production?
I know, like I don't know the specifics about when it's going to be released and all that, but I do know that it is.
It's in the works.
It's in the works, and that Tom Hardy is set to reprise that role.
I'm sure that both of those are going to be fantastic. I think that everything from this point has no reason to not be fantastic.
So here's my thing, John.
Set was great
for me at this point with this guy. I'm less interested about whether or not they're going to be fantastic, and more interested in like whether or not they're going to have their own personality, like the four films before them. Because my concern is that Furiosa is just going to be like another Fury Road with that exact setup and those exact, mechanics.
Well, it could be, but I mean, these things operate on the same mechanics.
Today, there have been 4 movies, and all 4 have been very standalone-ish. And I'm kind of hoping that by the time that I've seen Furiosa and I've seen The Wasteland, that I think, God damn it, there are 6 Mad Max movies, and like while they are kind of one continuing story about one character, like they're all completely fucking bipolar from each other.
I don't think that's going to be the case.
You just think that the next 2 movies are just going to be exactly like
No. I'm not saying that they're going to be exactly the same, but they're not going to be standalone because this film.
It's not about standalone. It's just the whole vibe and personality of the film.
Sure, no,
because to this point they've all been different, and I guess my concern is that the next two are going to be just like Fury Road, and it's going to kind of like water.
I don't think that's the case. I'm not worried about that at all. But they are not going to be as much of like a standalone experience because Fury Road tried really hard to create the foundation for a whole fucking universe.
Yeah.
In the setup of the story. Like, they created a whole, like, at the end of Mad Max Fury Road, they reset civilization.
Yeah.
I mean, like, they fucking did in the bad guy. They
That's
have
true.
fresh
So it's
water.
kind of like the end of the story, you know.
Well, it's not the end of the story. It's beginning of a million different
beginning of a new story.
It's
yeah.
the end.
But like, we're not going to get Furiosa 3, you know, governing this tower.
No, exactly. Like at Fury Road, they set up the opening sequence of an entirely new apocalyptic universe that could go anywhere it wants to. But they set up the universe. So I don't think that these movies are going to be all that standalone. It's going to be playing into the same storyline. My concern, honestly, would be that I hope it doesn't do what Alien did in the second prequel that they made after the first prequel. They just completely shit the bed and stopped giving a fuck about any of the writing that happened in the fucking prequels so far.
They've done that since the first movie.
Well, I know, but I hope they don't do that now.
I'm hoping they do that because they've done that with every movie.
Then they shouldn't. I don't. That's the thing I don't want to see because they did a good job at setting up what is a universe. And if you're going to set up a universe,
they did that independently of the other movies though, because none of the four movies to this point have the same universe.
I know.
They're completely
This movie is rebuilt, but with homages to all of those. This is the most cohesive thing. This took elements from all the others to make a cohesive thing. The story elements are super cohesive.
I don't know. I don't think Furiosa is going to be like the setup to like a Furiosa trilogy or something.
I don't think so either.
I think Furiosa is going to be like a standalone movie.
It's just giving a backstory to the character that we saw.
Yeah, and not like in a way like, well, don't you want to know how she lost her arm? But like, it's probably going to be an interesting story to tell. And like, I mean,
it's just setting up the world.
Put the fucking movie on mute, and it's still pretty to look at.
They created a great point zero to go whichever way they want.
Yeah, the research I did said that Max and it was presumed Tom Hardy would make an appearance in the Furiosa.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Movie. He will make an appearance. Furiosa's character will not make an appearance in the Mad Max The Wasteland,
which also makes sense.
And they did say that takes place about 1 year. So the details that are known about that at this point, it takes place 1 year before the events of Fury Road. It involves Max and his beloved car.
Yeah.
And it ends on a downer.
They've said that
they basically say it's a very.
Well, I guess
it's not a very uplifting story for Max.
Feeling very guilty and all of his friends are dead.
Well, I mean, the character is not going to be an uplifting dude.
But I don't know. Just Furiosa just looks like it's going to be like a fantastical.
I think these films are going to be better than these other things.
I just want it to be its own movie. That's all I want.
It looks like
it will be its own movie. How specific Fury Road was, like the story, the mechanical elements of the story of Fury Road was so specific. They could have handled a vehicular-oriented post-apocalyptic story, any way they wanted to. It was so goddamn specific. He chose to make that story essentially nothing but siege warfare with cars.
Yeah.
That's really specific in this apocalyptic setting.
It starts from, we've talked very little about the movie at this point.
We also forgot to say, it is streaming on Max currently. Yeah. If you want to watch before we spoil.
Yeah. Well, we're already spoiling. We actually haven't even started spoiling yet. So it starts with like a car chase. There's a Mad Max is taken prisoner. He escapes. There's a car chase. They go through there's this huge car chase through the entire desert. They get away.
And
that's the break in the action is they get away for a minute. And then where they were trying to go, where the green place where things grow because it's not desolate, they find out is no longer green. And so then, like, fuck. The only place that still has a chance is the place where there's water, which is back where we came.
There was another break. There was two breaks.
I feel like the movie is split into like 3 car chases.
It is.
It is, essentially.
That's actually 100% correct.
Yeah.
It's 3 car chases.
There are cars always moving, no matter what, somewhere.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
If not the main character's cars are moving, their pursuers are
Yeah.
still moving,
Yeah.
looming in the horizon.
Yeah.
Now, one thing, so in the first car chase, one thing that cracked me up later in the movie, when another person, like, dies in a car wreck in the second chase. Well, she doesn't actually die, but she dies afterwards. But, like, Max himself
falls from the car. And
yeah,
then dies
Max
shortly.
himself is like shooting under the wheels.
Yeah.
At the resolution of the first car chase, where they are chasing Max, there's no fucking way anybody would have survived the wreckage that you see on screen there. Like, it's a fucking miracle that he doesn't die. Like,
Yeah.
from that explosion and how that went down. It's like it's the furthest reach of, like, so much forgiveness is asked for the viewers to, like, expect this guy to live. But of course that sets up his epicness in the story. But, like, yeah, it cracked me up that later, like, oh no, she's fucked. Bro, you just fucking defeated the impossible odds and you live, so, like, how are you saying she's fucked?
Definitely, especially with, like, when he's like, did you see it? And all he says is, she went under the wheels.
Yeah.
I feel like the idea there is, like, she's not dead right now, but she's not going to live long
no,
enough.
she's going to be
back.
dead. And of course, it's the Max character, the apocalyptic character.
He just
like,
made the hard choice.
We should, exactly.
That everyone
choice. But
should have.
No, it's the movie is fucking full on action and it delivers super well. And the coolest thing, and this is one thing that leads to, like, why I was so, like, not off, but I was surprised by where the movie went and how it was produced. Was I knew that they made so much effort to make these cars from scratch, these real badass cars that they just fucking bolted and welded together to make these crazy monstrosities for the film.
Yeah.
Is an awesome feature of the movie. The fact that they did that kind of workmanship, especially in the days of CGI, to even fuck with that is like a huge plus to the production that they even did that. But
and that's been a huge part
could have all
of
just
the
been
evolution of the
golf
film
carts
series.
spray painted green.
Yeah, no, it could have been, and that's why, like, my one critique that we were talking about earlier, the technical critique I have, and it stopped after you get into the bulk of the, like, in the real energy of the movie, and you get further along in the story, it becomes less of an issue. But the first couple of scenes of CGI were shocking to me. In just how, like, they weren't quite there, then they didn't get there, and it didn't seem like as good as CGI. Like, I assumed an amount of CGI, right? Never having seen this movie, I assumed some degree of CGI.
Yeah.
And when it came out, 2015, for what it is, I would have assumed some, like, really good CGI.
Yeah.
You know, like, that was my assumption going in. And then before I saw it, I knew that they did all this effort to make these cars out of scratch, and, like, they're badass, and I've seen snippets at a bar at a friend's house or whatever of some of it.
Still
and,
didn't
this
watch
movie
it.
looks
Still
fucking
didn't watch
amazing.
it.
This looks so good. And then I sit down and watch it, and I see those first couple of scenes of, like, flashback ghost daughter CGI, and it was like, ugh.
Oh, I think the weird kind of, like, eye poppy. I don't know. Those shots were, like, very purposefully.
They may have been that, but
if I was going to make any critique of this movie, it definitely would not be on the visual spectrum. I'm just going to say that
for
right
the CGI, absolutely. I think that's the only critique I can make is those first few scenes of CGI. They were, like, abrupt and forced, and they just didn't look good. It reminded me of I had just watched Alien 3 and the bad CGI in Alien 3 that put me off of Alien 3. It felt like the same kind of, like, dated fucking 2002 CGI.
But you went on to watch Alien Resurrection, and the rest is history.
And that movie was fine, honestly. Like,
they're better at hiding the CGI in Alien Resurrection, I think, because it's like
probably
all black. Everything's black.
Well, it's just they didn't. The story wasn't written to even need that much CGI. The most CGI was just maybe the aliens, and then I mean, there's whatever.
Yeah,
fair enough. But I'm just saying that I expected more, knowing what I knew about this movie going in, and it just seemed, I don't know, I just expected better. 2015, big budget thing. They already went through all this trouble in making these cars super genuine. I just expected a little bit better. And again, all that washed away once you get into the energy of the movie. Yeah. And from that point on, they're still like, the scope of the story they're trying to tell is very big. And that's, again, they're setting up this whole universe now. It's not just like, some random shit happening. Like, they're setting up a big story and a big thing and a big platform.
This is the least Max focused movie.
Yeah, they're setting up they're focused on the world. Max is a part of the world, and he's a mechanism in the world. But they're really setting up the world, and so there was a couple other scenes where they couldn't make a set for, so they had to do CGI, and it worked well enough. And I guess also too, like, it's hard to hide any flaws and failures in the CGI when your backdrop is a fucking desert horizon line and blue sky. Yeah. It's a lot. Yeah. When there's more going on, it's easier to like, oh, that doesn't look quite as not perfect. Yeah. But when it's just like yellow, blue backdrop, like, it's going to stand out a little bit more, I suppose. But no, I love the fact that they really just said, fuck it, and set up a whole new world to this thing, And I love the pacing. I love the focus on the fucking. What's great about this movie, if you're a car guy, you're gonna love. I mean, that's what they played on first, was like the post-apocalyptic shit, but just like the thing. So many people are like that culture, love cars. Yeah.
It's like, hey, you like Fast and the Furious? Check out Fast and the Furiosa. Yeah.
What's fucking dope is how deep they go into it. Like, the whole world is built around cars, and that's super true to the OG.
And like mech, like, because it's all like metallic masks and like guitar player with the
guitar player, the Jesus
guitar
Christ,
that shoots fire.
I laughed every time.
See, it's stuff like
love
that.
The guitar player.
Dude, like, this is a fucking war party, and they are taking a giant car that is nothing but amps and a guy playing guitar. Like,
fucking beautiful.
Okay, you can't criticize any world building because like they're clearly saying we're gonna do whatever the fuck
that's
we
the thing.
want.
I'm celebrating the world building. I think they did a great job in this movie's world building. I think they did. I loved all that. Like, they really took it back. Yeah. They created the world. They created the families. Like, it's one thing when it was like just the one weird supervillain guy, but then it gets revealed that like, oh, he's got two brothers. Yeah. And they all each have their own fucking camps. And they all just poop out kids. I mean, that's the thing. After the initial chase, Max comes across Furiosa driving this war rig, and this is one of the funniest things to me was the inexplicable bath time. Like, these people, like, so Furiosa goes out in order to, what is she going to war with somebody or going to like get some gasoline somewhere?
Oh,
they're fixing something, right? Like
right at that moment, she's fixing something. Yeah.
No. I'm saying what sends her out. So like the main villain in the movie is one of the brothers. Is like the Empire.
They're doing a trade. They're taking the water or the gas.
I thought they were just raiding somebody.
They'd be taking water. Their tanker is taking water to Bullet Town.
Okay.
Because he says, like, what's going on? We're not going to Bullet Town?
Yeah. Okay, so they get sent on a mission, and then in mid-mission, Furiosa
which is funny, you said Bullet Town, and Beyond Thunderdome,
I'm sure that's an homage.
It's Barter Town.
Barter Town. I couldn't... It's Gasoline Town, right? Is one of them? And then it's Bullet Farm or something?
Something like that.
Is, like Road Warrior.
So when she's out, she decides she has her own agenda and she takes off.
Pretty sure in Mad Max they just go to Wendy's.
And then once she departs from the known mission, that's when she's put in pursuit, and that's how Max gets involved because he's been picked up and is now like a blood bag for these guys. And then at the end of that chase scene, Max comes upon her after all kinds of fucking nonsense. I mean, the amount of nonsense in these chase scenes is fantastic. And then finds her taking her stopping while still being pursued by all these guys they just barely escaped from. Like, 3? Maybe at that point, 3 different caravans of bad guys?
I don't think at that point they know the other 2 are coming yet.
They know somebody's coming.
That's true, because they're all chasing them into the...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure at that point there were 2 fucking outfits of bad guys chasing them, and they're like, let's take a break and like shower, girls. And so then you get the. I mean, of course, though,
they are wearing chastity belts. You know, that's not super comfortable.
It would be really uncomfortable, of course.
Seems like kind of a waste of water.
Yeah, it would. I agree.
I mean, they had a lot of water.
They did. Apparently, yeah. No, that guy was like hooked up. He had all the water he wanted, and that's the whole setup. But yeah, so they reveals these breeder girls, and so like the main bad guy for that portion of the world, those are his breeders, and so then you assume that these other family and like all of his uppers are his sons. And so the other bad guys, his brothers, also have their own breeders and probably also have their own sons. So like they did their due diligence.
The guy with the nose says something like all this wasted over
some family bullshit.
Yeah, like he doesn't seem to like carry the same weight to the.
Here's what I want to know: if those are the breeders, then why don't the people look better?
Well, I think the idea is that he keeps all the pretty ones to himself. Like he wants the healthy men for his sons. And
exactly. Like,
and
then inbreeds, which creates the little mutant guy.
Everyone
in the chair.
has birth defects.
Yeah. So, but they really did their due diligence in creating the world, and that's what I really like about this movie, and that's why I'm excited for the rest of it. I want more of this like expansive world building, because Mad Max is always.
I just don't want it to be more of the same. I want it to be.
I don't think it will.
I want the other two movies to be different than this one.
I absolutely think they will. I think that Furiosa is going to be less vehicularly driven, and then I think when it gets to Max, I bet it'll be just straight up old school fucking classic.
It might even be smaller scale.
I think Mad Max: The Wasteland will be what he wanted the Road Warrior to be. That's what I'm hoping for and believe it will be.
I have full confidence in this franchise. I think they're just going to go great going forward.
I believe George Miller has a lot of control over this. So like,
I would hope so. Like I said, he is basically the godfather of this genre. So.
Yeah, and like, really, I do feel like when it comes to good filmmakers, like. If you just trust them, you know, like
to do this,
you know, to do if they're getting to do exactly what they want, they're probably going to make a good movie.
And so that's the thing that I had to say to you guys before, like, and right now to the viewers, like, I'm not like I have no qualms with this as a film. Like, I loved this film. I loved it. Like, I had some criticisms for those specific things, and that was based mostly on my expectations of the movie or the impression I got. But like, this film is fucking fantastic.
Yeah,
it's nothing but fun. It's nothing but action. Has a great resolution. That's an open but not obnoxiously like lazily open resolution. Like at the very end, after the day is saved and all these crazy ass fucking car chases, like Dustin says, they get to this place that Furiosa, played by Charlize Theron, was trying to get to, which is this in her mind promised land that she came from. Well, it turned out that went to shit. Then they had to go back. You know, after all that perfect resolution, they do go back. They do win the day. Now they can reset the world because the big bad guy had access to never-ending water.
While we're talking about the ending, one thing I do love about the ending. First off, I love. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a Tom Hardy apologist. I love Tom Hardy.
That's why I hate the Venom movies so much. It's like, come on, Tom Hardy, you're so much better than this.
I've always thought he's great.
I hate that Tom Hardy did a single fucking.
I loved everything else.
I hate that he's done a single superhero movie. I wish he hadn't done that.
They're the worst superhero movies. They're really
he gets a lot of credit for his like Bane performance in the.
Have you ever seen Bronson?
Yes, I've seen Bronson.
You'd like Bronson. Have you seen Bronson?
I haven't. I've wanted to.
But anyway, I think he's a really good actor, and like this is like such a like layup role for him because it's just like we want you to basically say almost nothing and grunt a lot. And it's like that's what Tom Hardy's good at.
Yeah, for sure.
Like that's the perfect thing for Tom Hardy. He's the perfect guy for that.
I feel like the majority of his scenes too, he's either not like he's looking away from the camera or he's squinting his eyes too. So it's like pretty easy.
And I also love and like spoiler alert that we've already given you, so fuck off if like you're offended by this spoiler. But at the very end of the movie, they get back. They take control of the water. They take control of the city, whatever. And like, so Furiosa's on top. She makes eye contact with Mad Max, and he's just kind of like peace out, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Like he basically signals to her, and that's what I love about that.
Yeah.
He's not going to stick around and take any credit for this. He's the fucking road warrior.
Yeah.
He's going to go back on the road and be a fucking road warrior.
No, for sure. And that sets up her empire, the Furiosa Empire after, and he's still a free agent running around. So that alone creates so many sequels from Fury Road. Because now it's like somebody go 40 years in the future, somebody trying to fuck up this bit, Max comes back in.
Yeah, I would expect if there was a movie sequel to Fury Road that it would not feature Furiosa or like that city. It would be like no connections at all besides Max again. Like that's what I would expect.
It could include that city again. It's just like there's a lot of story to tell there.
Yeah,
like, that's the new beginning for the world.
Like, that's just not. That doesn't feel like what Mad Max is. He's not gonna like. Oh, I gotta swing back into port and meet up with a buddy of mine. You know,
no, but he might just be drawn there. I'm just saying, like the end of Mad Max is not just like, oh, here's a city that's pretty good. Like Barren Wasteland, they flipped a switch. Now there's just water.
Yeah,
like, they literally changed the world. The world that we see is changed at the end of that movie because they just like. Water, bitches!
And they murdered. They killed the other two, like leaders of the other two towns.
I know that there's not a lot to say specifically about this movie because it's so visual.
Oh, I mean, I think there's plenty.
We've said a lot, but I mean, we haven't said a lot specifically about the movie. But one of the things I really like is at the beginning, before they start the first car chase, when the kind of supervillain releases the water. Like from the top level, and like so all these citizens have got like their little cups and like thimbles, and they're like trying to catch the water.
Yeah,
and like the supervillain is like do not let.
Do not grow addicted.
Don't grow addicted to water.
You'll find its absence more painful.
Yeah. Like basically, you will start to like fucking like.
You go through fucking water withdrawals, dude.
Like basically that's what he was saying.
That's villainous, man. That's villainous.
Yeah, it's like you'll start to like fucking hate water for not being available all the time. If you
blame the water.
Yeah. I don't know. I really dug that scene. I thought it like stuck with me throughout, and like really did a good job of setting up the world.
No, it set up the wasteland very, very well, man. Like its movie delivered across all fronts, and I'm excited for everything else to come from this movie. Whatever it is, I don't care. Like it could be the same characters to some degree, and it would still feel good because they did a good job setting the world up. Like it's simple. That's the beauty about an apocalyptic world build.
Yeah,
is it's simple. You don't have to really like flesh out too much. Like
no.
As long as you stay true to the core things, you can do as much as you want.
I also want to point out an observation, having watched all 4 movies. Fury Road, the only Mad Max movie that doesn't actually have a road.
Yeah. They're gone.
It's more of a suggestion.
Which I would have thought it would have taken more than like 5-10 years for the roads to go away. But
I don't know.
They're building they're building these sets on a different timeline than what the story exists.
Well, it's also in an already like flat area.
Well,
too.
And so the thing is too, also for Fury Road, there's not as much context to the world we know now, right? Because they have technology that we don't have
clearly
now.
It's clearly farther along in Max's.
Yeah.
You would think it's at least 10, 15 years after. Like if you were trying to set up a timeline here.
Oh, I think it's probably like. Well, I don't even think that. Again, I don't think there is a.
Well, okay. So here's why
I still think it's a reboot.
Like the time period is almost meaningless.
It is meaningless. That's what I was trying to say. Each one is its own movie.
At the beginning of the Furiosa trailer, it says this story takes place 45 years after the fall, when Furiosa is like a teenager, right? So, and then, Fury Road would have to be at, 10, 15 years after Furiosa.
Yeah.
And Mad Max, at least according to the franchise, was living before the fall. Right?
Yes. No, it's after the fall.
No, it's after the fall and they go to an ice cream stand?
Yes. So they...
I need to rewatch that movie.
I don't know what the fall is. It's not really referenced before this.
Yeah. But I thought
I mean, like...
society was like in the midst of falling apart.
I think this dude cobbled together
it's already there.
an apocalyptic story.
It's
along
already
the way.
there. So
life.
Mad Max is that, but like I don't know if it's just they didn't have the wherewithal to understand that like in a post-apocalyptic world, like there's not going to be fucking ice cream stands because they exist in his world. The guy who the mechanic at the fucking tire shop is the one that tells him about the ice cream parlor. You know, like it's a little weird. I think part of it is just that like he was the first to be there, and so he didn't know how to interact with his own world.
That's what. Yeah, he just cobbled it together along the way. He wrote some shit, and then later was like, oh fuck,
which
that
works.
doesn't really work.
Also, the character's called Mad Max, so
and that's
his own narrative.
And that's why I love.
So he built this world. Nobody else had done it like him.
Right.
Like nobody else had captured.
And it's the same guy that made. It's the same guy that made Fury Road, right?
All four same.
So he learned his lessons. To me, when I'm gonna watch those 3 films, but with this film and just from your description,
he not only learned his lessons though, he didn't feel bound by any previous film to do it the way that he wanted to do it now.
Well, he just scrapped. That's what I'm saying. He scrapped those first 3 films. Have literally nothing to do with this film. Like he scrapped it all. He's like, well, this is my first attempt at apocalyptic shit. I learned my lessons. Now here's my actual opus. Here's the fucking thing.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel.
That's what this is. Like, fuck this shit. Here's this.
Having watched all 4,
thing.
I feel like each film does that with all previous films.
Yeah.
Sure,
I don't think that this 4th film
exactly.
is any different than the previous 3. I don't think it's like a reboot. I literally think it's the next iteration of everything that he's already been doing. That's why I'm saying if the next 2 films just feel to me like more of the same as what Fury Road gave me, I'm going to be really disappointed. Because what I want it to be is I want Furiosa to feel like a completely different film where he's like completely like evolved in his way of thinking about this world and give me something different.
Yeah.
And then for the Wasteland to be another iteration of that, because that's what he's done so far and it's worked brilliantly.
Yeah, but you can't. But the thing is, when it's like, you can't do that with a prequel. Like, you can do that with.
He totally can. He totally can. That's the thing.
I think it'd be a piece of shit if he does. If he's just like,
-1 is technically a prequel to Shin Godzilla, but they're also both completely standalone.
And there's nothing to say that you can't have a different film experience and it feel different and still like stay true to the world that he's built. He doesn't have to just like upend and turn the world completely upside down and around every time he makes a movie. Especially not after making the world he just made and after like using the character.
I would just expect a different aesthetic.
And there probably will be.
Whereas this one was very like red and kind of like was almost like Mars-like with its like desolate.
You can
like,
change
desert
the experience without just saying fuck all the story.
I would like to see something that's a little understated in
well, it will
Furiosa,
be because it's before the shit.
For sure.
It's before the green place goes to shit, so it will be green.
Yeah,
actually.
But I mean, obviously, the Wasteland is 1 year before Fury Road, so I don't know. I feel like that movie's gonna have a different vibe just because it's gonna be actually on the like. I feel like it's gonna be like Mad Max on the road. Like I feel like that's gonna be more like an homage to the originals.
I think that they'll all feel different, and I think they'll all be really good. And I think that
I just only expect good things because it seems like he has freedom. Like literally, there was a delay of making a sequel to Fury Road because he was not okay with the contract or whatever. So he has he can do basically. It seems like he can just do what he
has
wants
full control at this point.
And Fury Road was a huge success. So like, studio would want him to make the movie. So.
It's arguably the greatest action movie of all time.
Yeah,
like I mean,
top 10 at the
it's one of them, for sure.
I believe that. I think technically it's definitely the best Mad Max movie.
Yeah.
I don't think. I think actually the best Mad Max movie is The Road Warrior, because I think that this movie doesn't exist without the Road Warrior, and you have to acknowledge that.
I would imagine that Road Warrior from the original trilogy is like the sweet spot because he got his feet under him. They had explored the idea, had some success from the first, and this was like his chance to do something with the success. And I feel like if Thunderdome was worse, it's because some other person another group of people came into play and like started to twist what he could and couldn't do.
I'm gonna
shifted it.
I'm gonna do a quick synopsis for all of our listeners in case you've never seen a Mad Max movie. I'm gonna do a quick synopsis for all of them. Mad Max, the original Mad Max, is like 1979 or something like that. It basically, they acknowledge that it's kind of like post-apocalyptic, but they don't really tell you. They're basically like, at the beginning they tell you this takes place a few years after shit goes down. They basically say that. Right? So like it's post-apocalyptic, but only a few years in. And it basically feels like what I would expect to see if I went to Australia today. You know, like I mean it's a lot of that. Like there's nothing that seems barren. The cars seem normal. He's part of a police force that actually like all the cars look the same because they're all the same police cruisers that they're using. And like he has one buddy that owns this like kind of garage that has a hot rod in it, which is like kind of becomes his car. But like even then the car is not like that over the top. It's like, you know, it doesn't look any different than like a modified muscle car from the fucking 70s or whatever. I mean, like it just looks like what you would expect. And then so you go from that to the Road Warrior, which is the first time you see this like red, like desolate, like there's no water anywhere, like there's no ice cream stands. You finally start to see cars bolted together where like this is the first movie where he starts experimenting with, you know, like the machinery is just going to be whatever they can cobble together. And so like we have these weird flying machines and we have this like car that's like been cut in half and mounted to another car. And like, that's the first time he experiments with that. So then you go to Beyond Thunderdome, and this is, I guess, a cash grab. I don't really understand what they were trying to do. That's what it sounds
like from your description.
That's what they were trying to do. Like they gave him money and said make another movie, and he's just like, I don't really feel like it, so I'll just get Tina Turner and like some kids, and we'll throw an airplane in here from the old days and
the before.
Doesn't even make any sense. There's this fucking like commercial jet on a beach, right?
Yeah.
And like the kids are like, oh, come check out our fucking jet. Or like they don't call it that, but like come check out our thing. And it's like, so there's this like fucking jet like on a beach, and they're all just like all these kids. There's like fucking like 80 of them. They're all just like crawling all over this thing. One kid is on the highest fucking point of the back like wing, you know, like an airplane like goes across, and there's like a vertical wing that goes up. He's like sitting on it, like scissoring it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, how the fuck do you get up there? Like it makes no sense in the world. Have you seen a goddamn jet? That thing's like 40 feet off the ground. How do you get up there? Like, and he's just like, I'm up here waving. It's just like, God.
I can imagine, but that's like
it's so frustrating.
Stuff's not slick, you know. It's especially got some rust going on. You can get a bit of a grip to it, you know.
He's like riding.
Yeah, that was just a lazy.
The whole movie. The whole movie is very lazy.
Over the top.
Also, the villain is a duo called Master Blaster.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Tina Turner is one of them, isn't it?
No, it is not. No, Tina Turner is not part of Master Blaster.
No, yeah, so Tina Turner is like fighting against Master Blaster.
Okay.
Features a kind of like a really big dude who's a simpleton.
With a little smart guy, I'm sure.
No, who's a little person who at first I was sure was Warwick Davis, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
But he's like riding him.
But it's like basically Warwick Davis.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Warwick Davis, which I think he's dead now.
No, he's not. He's alive.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. He just did a new
Willow.
One of his other.
So it's an older guy. It's a guy who's older than Warwick Davis, but he's a little person who is an actor. And
I'm sure they all knew each other.
I'm sorry, they're fucking terrible actors. Like there's no little. Danny DeVito's the only little person that
you don't like Warwick Davis.
Warwick Davis is not a good actor.
What are you talking about?
What was the?
I rewatched Willow. You know what the worst part of Willow is? Warwick Davis.
Angelo Rosito.
Oh, I know that guy. I recognize him.
Played Master Blaster. Warwick Davis is
okay.
great.
So they Molly pointed this out. She read my fucking mind. So we're watching this movie, and they talk about Master Blaster. It's like, yeah, so like Blaster is the muscle, and Master is the guy who rides on his back. He's the brains of the operation. And then like you finally meet Master, and like this speech patterns, it's just like he's the brains of this operation. Like right away, he does not talk like an intelligent person at all,
Right.
at all. And you're just like, this is pretty lazy the way they did this.
Yeah.
The name for like Master Blaster, horrible name for a villain. Horrible. I don't even know what we were thinking. And it's 2 villains. I guess it's 2.
Hey, did he write this shit?
Probably,
I think probably.
So
Meister Blaster.
But probably only because they gave him a bunch of money and said write another one of those.
I mean, the villain in Fury Road, who I think is a great villain. His name's all of his followers think he's a god, so they call him Immortan Joe.
He's the best villain in
he's fantastic.
in all the Mad Max movies. He is by far the best villain. Most of them are kind of like very
one note,
oddly homoerotic. Like,
well, it's all leather and and straps.
But it's like
and gimp
the dude
suits.
from the
Gimp
dude
suits
from
survive
Fury Road
nuclear apocalypse.
is like a leather
Always
daddy
they do.
who has this like kind of like blonde also leather daddy that always rides on his back and like
More back riding.
it's a little
he's got
weird.
he's got a thing here.
There are a bunch of motorcycles, but he always rides bitch on this dude's motorcycle. It's a little homoerotic. It's and also very much not explained.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like,
I mean, that's the thing. Like,
what
again,
is explained in Mad Max?
this dude, all the early films, I would just imagine this dude's just like fucking figuring the shit out as he goes, just cobbling the shit together and like picking up the pieces after the fact.
Yeah.
But so and it's campy, fucking sci-fi, man.
Yeah.
Like at a certain point, the dude's having fun. So some of this stuff is just
what I would recommend is, if nothing else, watch The Road Warrior. Watch Mad Max Fury Road.
I think those are the notables.
Yeah.
I think that's the where to go.
And if you enjoy them, I would say watch Mad Max. I think the Mad Max. The one thing I like about Mad Max, I kind of like the ending. I think the ending is kind of cool. Like, and he doesn't really hit on the like barren wasteland concept.
Right. So you say in Mad Max that it states that it's a few years after shit goes down, right?
It's completely vague. It's like some number of years. It's like some number of years after an apocalypse.
So that's
is
the
like
thing.
Kind of what it says.
I love apocalyptic shit. I love societal shit. I love all this kind of stuff. So like, if it is a few years after the fall, after shit goes down, whatever that means, 5, 10 years, 10 years even. Sure, let's say 10 years. And that's like the fall of known society.
Yeah.
Governmental collapse, right? That's a thing that ripples. It's not a thing that just like
that's
American
true.
government falls like everything's a wasteland.
I could imagine it could be years.
It takes time, especially if you live in a rural area. Like if our government would fall, if the United States government would fall, like where we are in rural Midwest America, like it would take an amount of time for a lot of the like serious implications of that to really reach us.
Yeah.
So if it's like 5 to 10 years after whatever thing happened, there still would be the communities trying to function, especially if they're fucking Australian outback rural communities. Those people, it would take a while for them to be really affected by.
Yeah, I mean, think about
so that really doesn't not track. But when you go to the next film, it's like say 20 years after. So by his age, you could argue maybe 10 years after. Like if
they're probably going to sell it as 20, but
sure, okay, yeah.
Sure.
So 20, they're going to argue 20.
Mel Gibson was probably like early 20s when they made those movies, and Tom Hardy's pushed like he's definitely in his.
But 20,
40s, 50s,
I would imagine
like
a 20-year gap probably makes an amount of sense.
Yeah.
So when things fall, those early years probably take a little bit longer for like the more catastrophic effects to really take root. But in those years after that, it would probably speed up quite a bit.
Yeah.
So like after the 10-year mark of there being no government and no infrastructure, every year after that, it's probably going to decline
Yeah.
at an increasing rate. So
Yeah.
another
No, and that's
20 years after
that's
that.
fair. That's fair if you want to like after the fact try to justify.
No, that's
justify that. That's cool. I'm just saying
That's not what I'm doing.
very, very clearly from Mad Max to the Road Warrior, a year has passed. There's no way that we got from here to here in a year. Like like those two, the jump and like the amount of how desolate the first one was not even a wasteland. It's really not. It's just Australia.
I know. But you said a year. So is there a year production time of film or a year from the first film to the second film? So I thought we just talked about like an express 20.
So,
He was the
There-
20 gap he was talking about was from Thunderdome to Fury Road.
I was talking about the gap from Mad Max to the Road Warrior.
Okay, cool. So
Oh.
that's still
Because
so
there's like
we're
no
on the same
gap there.
page.
The thing is, there's
Right.
no gap there.
No, I know, but like you're talking.
It's a couple of years at most, and probably not much. Like I'm probably pushing it. Like it's very much right after, but it's very different.
Well, I know, but I would think that.
The character hasn't aged,
Okay.
and like
The release dates are
well, the release date's only like a year or two.
Mad Max is
Yeah.
79, Mad Max 2 is 81.
No, I know the character looks as young as he looks, and you can't change that from film to film. They could have done something probably, but it's a matter of storytelling, and in the storytelling,
I feel like what he's done is he's kind of created this thing where like each movie is a retelling of the same hero named Max, and I feel like none of the movies
Or a different hero
really
named
give a
Max.
shit
That is
about
the
what the
point.
previous movies did.
Yes.
yeah.
This is
Clean slate.
and that's
you know?
my whole point. Is I want the new movies to do the
Right.
same thing. I don't want to watch Furiosa and
Ugh.
think this is just like Fury Road, only with a slightly different story, and we got a different actress playing a different.
I think we'll have to
younger
wait 2
version.
months to see.
We will find out.
That was my whole point. Is
Yeah.
like they're all different, and I love that he did that, and like I want him to continue doing that, and like I totally expect him and think that he should play homage to Fury Road. And like have some of the mechanics that he had, like I want it to be.
He's using the same character, so
I
there's gonna
want
have
it
to
to be its own movie, is what I'm saying.
It will be its own movie
Okay.
because
Let's
it's
put a
prequel.
pin on.
Yeah, let's
Mad
put a pin on the
Max.
donkey's tail.
It's a good movie. It's a really good
yeah,
movie.
it's a great movie.
If you don't, if
Borderline
you don't,
perfect.
you should watch the others. But if you don't, it's perfectly fine because it's just a really great film. That you should
Fuck,
just
this
watch
movie
'cause
is the best pick so far.
super enjoyable.
in this year.
Yeah, I'd say fuck. This movie is nearly perfect. Best pick of 2014. 2024.
Oh my god!
2024.
Shit.
Yeah, best pick of 2024.
Yeah, it's
so
nearly
far.
perfect. Nearly perfect. I expected
close.
it. No, it's annoying because I expected it to be perfect.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
well,
why
you
that-
fucked yourself, John.
That's why that little thing annoyed me so much because, like, from the snippets I saw, and for it to take me so long to watch it, and this cast,
Yeah.
the things, yeah, just everything. I'm like, this is gonna be fucking amazing. And like when I saw those little things, I'm like, God
Yeah.
damn it, it's like a thing got stuck in my teeth.
Yeah.
Is what that
Like a
shit
piece
was
of
like.
corn that you keep
I
sucking on.
I still like got to the end and like, yeah, that was fucking fantastic. But god damn, I wish I didn't have to pick this out of my teeth. But yeah, no, it's a fantastic film. Fantastic
movie.
film. You should watch it.
Worth
Everyone
watching.
should watch it.
So is that? Are we done
For this movie, we didn't have a lot to talk about. We've gone pretty along with it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, we like to talk.
That's
what
true.
it's about.
That's true.
So that does it for Mad Max, right? Anybody else have
no,
anything else to say?
I think we said it all.
Yeah.
All right. We have two more things to cover. One of which is a what's in theaters, and the other is what we're gonna watch next.
Yeah.
But before that, I want to share this. I found this like fucking disturbing photo on social media today.
Oh Jesus. What is this?
This is a photo that says the end of an era. Best Buy has begun removing all physical media and displays today.
Ugh.
And it's like literally somebody in Best Buy as they're like fucking removing the section where you would buy your fucking Blu-rays, your DVDs, or whatever.
Yeah.
And like that's just not going to exist anymore. And that's
That
just
sucks.
a really
No
sad
more
time.
physical media is just gone.
No,
Yeah.
they're still making it. It's just it's not worth it for them.
It's
to
not
carry
like
it
in
anymore.
big box stores.
Inventory is what kills businesses that deal with inventory.
Like Walmart stopped carrying CDs, I think, like 4 years ago.
Well, I mean, it depends on the demand. No, it is a shame that people just a shift.
Yeah, it's weird.
Just a shift.
No, I think it's really shitty.
Digital.
But like, I can also understand it because like I like going into stores and looking at interesting Blu-rays and stuff. And the last few times I've been to Best Buy, they have some really fun shit. And then it's like, oh, I'll go buy this, and it's like $50. It's like I know I can buy this on Amazon for $30. You know,
inventory will kill you, man.
I hate it, but like you can't compete. You got to compete with the prices. You know? Especially, I thought what I've really felt in the last couple of years was physical media was kind of starting to save itself because of it's moving basically to just our collector's market, which can be healthy. It's small, but it can be healthy.
No, and I think that's fine.
And that's the last few times I've been to Best Buy. They were carrying like some Criterion editions and Arrow.
And so
at
the end of the day, like with that being where it's going, of course, the big box stores, bigger entities are just going to scrap it.
Yeah.
And it's still going to exist as it is. I mean, you're going to find local stores. And that's going to be the thing. There's going to be little guys that pop up in little niche places that they know there's a demand, like John with Karma.
Yeah.
Like exploring that.
Someday.
It's the end of an era, but I still say, I still think you should support Best Buy. Go there to buy your TV. Don't order your TV on Amazon.
Yeah. You should always buy local. You don't need to support evil.
Which is not. I mean, it's corporation. It's not super local, but like still just
if it's in your town, it's local.
Go to a fucking
that's the thing.
No, I think you're literally doing better if you go buy something at Walmart.
Yes.
Than if you buy something.
If you buy something from the town you live in, you are supporting the town you live in.
Yeah.
It may be a corporation, but that portion of that corporate entity is providing jobs to your community and is a part of your economy. So you should always support everything as local as you can because it gives your neighbors jobs.
Yeah.
Even if it's an evil corporation, it's fine.
No, yeah, that's why.
It's still better than Jeff fucking Bezos.
So anyway, with that bit of sad news, Reese, what should we be going to theaters to watch?
Well, it is now entering the most bleak time of new movie releases.
I feel like you say that every week.
Where you probably,
for popular culture, most of it's pretty bleak.
January is like one of the worst times for new movies because. We will probably be getting access to some like Oscar movies soon as that season fast approaches.
The movies that came out like last year that we're just now getting a chance to see.
Like Poor Things. It's not that I was waiting. It's that I just got it.
If somebody like actually factually believes they have a movie that's so good that it could win an Oscar, the last thing you want to do is release it in January.
Yeah.
The beginning of the year before the Oscar for last year, before the Oscars for last year's movies has even come out, like everybody will forget your shit.
Yeah.
I get it.
There's one movie. At this point, it almost seems like, oh wow, you guys maybe should have waited to release Killers of the Flower Moon because I feel like I think Godzilla is honestly going to have a pretty good chance at a lot of Oscars because it's so fresh and like kind of the best we've ever seen of that,
It'll win.
So like,
it might win Best Foreign Film and like some.
It'll definitely be nominated.
Some technical awards for sure.
But we do have coming out this week the first 2024 release, Night Swim. It looks like kind of a fun, campy horror movie. I might end up seeing it. I don't know.
Yeah, it sounds.
Yeah.
It's
basically a haunted house, except it's above
Eddie Murphy's not in it.
An in-ground pool.
Fuck off! No, I'm not. Whatever. I'll watch it in like 4 years when it's on some streaming service. But that's whatever. It's another slasher.
But we have currently playing. Here are the Oscar type movies playing right now. We have The Boys in the Boat, which is about boat racing, I think.
Boat racing.
It's I think it's like Crew.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, like the Harvard, like fucking.
Yeah.
So it's really about the characters that race the boats.
But it's also a period piece. I think it's a World War II movie, and so it looks extra boring because like we got to race to beat the Nazis.
Yeah.
The Color Purple,
I
which
saw Cool Runnings.
Yeah.
the-
Way harder racing though. They just go like down a tube.
Oh, dude, like that shit's like scary as fuck, dude.
I'm sure
It's
I
not
would
like-
never do it, but you know.
It's not like the luge, but bobsledding is like fucking crazy.
The Color Purple, which is based on the Broadway musical. We have Ferrari, where Adam Driver plays Mr. Ferrari.
Adam Driver's good.
It's what's his name?
Even in a bad movie,
Michael
I'll
Mann.
watch
Is it
him.
Michael Mann? The
Yeah,
director
Michael
of
Mann.
Heat. So like he's kind of like a Ridley Scott type director.
I wouldn't. I don't think I'd quite put him in the same. Michael Mann makes like very. How should I say this politely?
Heavy-handed. I don't know.
Yeah, like he makes very boring films.
Yeah, I mean,
Like-
people talk about Heat like all the time.
Like
One of the best.
Heat's a good movie, but it's not like. It's a little overrated. Like I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, I'm probably the biggest Al Pacino fan in the world. And I'll be the first to admit that Heat's a little overrated. I think Michael Mann's a little overrated.
Yeah. No,
I mean,
I agree. Yeah.
I feel like he doesn't really do anything super unique. He like a lot of what he does is biopics and like remakes.
Yeah.
I mean,
A lot of
like,
biopics.
a lot of remakes. I mean, like he hasn't really done anything original. Like Michael Mann's just kind of like I'm technically good at doing things.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
here's some things that are technically good.
But I'm not really a fan of the things
He
he's
does-
technically good
yeah.
at.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Somebody I don't know. Somebody listening to this that knows more about Michael Mann than me, drop something in the chat of YouTube telling me what he's done that's original that I should watch. I'd be curious to know that
Yeah.
because I don't think it exists. Anyway,
The Iron Claw, which I'm hoping to see this weekend.
I saw a tweet from a person that I like that said I went to high school with him, but he said that go see The Iron Claw, great movie. See it by yourself unless you want to cry in front of your girlfriend.
Yeah. I mean, the story of the family is like fucking tragic as hell, so I can imagine it's nothing but a tearjerker. Wonka, still out there. I'm still
My
like,
wife wants to see that. What do I do about that?
I don't. It's the kind of movie where I'm really annoyed at how
what do I do?
much critical praise it's getting. Because like, don't tell
I
me.
got some mushroom
I
that
have
I can
to see
like
this.
dose up and like
Oh yeah,
drink a bunch of Dr. Pepper and pretend that I'm paying attention to the movie.
Dude, you're gonna hate it because it's a family movie.
it's also a musical.
It's a family. It's a bad family movie.
I've seen the other Wonkas, so like
It's got to be worse than
I
Charlie
mean-
and the Chocolate Factory. God, it's got to be.
I don't know.
eh.
I don't
It doesn't
wanna-
look as annoying
I
as
don't
Charlie
wanna-
and the Chocolate Factory.
Maybe.
Um,
I don't know.
The Hunger Games movie is still in theaters. Godzilla -1 is still in theaters, and I can't stress enough, you got to see this in theaters. Then there is an animated movie called Migration. There's a rom-com called Anyone But You. And there is Aquaman 2. So,
Aquaman 2.
you know, it's weird because it's like, oh, overall, these are pretty bad movies, but you do still have access to Godzilla -1. So it's
You should just
Yeah.
go watch
you
that.
can't say there's no good movies. in
So,
theaters.
can I give some
As long
suggestions
as there's one.
to the people who are following along and are interested in seeing something good this
Yeah.
weekend?
Yeah.
See Godzilla -1. It won't take that much of your time, and it's really fucking good, and it'll stick with you.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I think. I found out like kind of right before I came in tonight that like HBO Max, I guess, has acquired like all of the old Star Trek movies.
Oh.
Like all the Star Trek movies, like from
The
before,
60s.
from
Yeah.
before J.J. Abrams took over.
The Star Trek films. So that's the thing, dude.
Yeah,
They are so much better than people like. So when you think about,
I've never seen any of them. So like they have all of them on HBO Max now. So I think I might start watching those. This
when
weekend.
you think of Captain Kirk, Star Trek, and you think of the '60s TV show, the films are completely
Yeah.
different than the derpy ass 1960s TV show.
I've heard that, and I've heard that they're all really
Completely
good.
different. They are good. They are good. I highly recommend watching them. It's
So,
been a long
yeah.
time, but
I think it's going to take time because it's 10 movies.
Yeah.
Not including the new J.J. Abrams
They
kind
are
of
good.
The shortest one's probably like 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Right? Yeah, I don't know. I know that. I mean, I know little tidbits. I know that the Wrath of Khan is the second one. It's supposed to be one of the better Star Wars or Star Trek. Sorry, people. Star Trek movies that's ever been made. So
I mean, people just quote that as like one of the best sci-fi movies.
Yeah, it's fair.
Dude,
it's fair. And I've never done it, and I want to sit down and watch it. I watched the new ones, and they interested me.
You
They're
should.
fun.
Star Trek is so much. I'm a big fucking Star Trek nerd.
And the fact that HBO Max got access to all 10, like, it just seems like the perfect time.
Yeah.
This
Does that include the Next Generation movies with Picard?
It has 10 movies, so
It has to.
It basically said it has all the movies except for the 3 that they've done.
That's cool.
The new ones they've done.
I have that. I'm gonna watch all those motherfuckers.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. Yeah,
So
they're good movies.
yeah. So that's just another alternative if you don't want to watch any of the shit that we just mentioned in theaters.
Yeah.
Watch some old classics instead of watching, F-Boy Island or whatever.
Well, real quick, I'll say I was going to talk about this longer, but probably not today.
Go for it. The floor is
As far
yours.
as far as watching things that are older, I've decided this year I'm going to try and focus on things having big anniversaries this year.
Okay.
That's actually why I picked When Harry Met Sally. This year's its 35th anniversary.
Oh.
So I'm making a list of movies that are like 10 years old this year, or 15, 20, 25, And there's some like really, really big ones. Like ones When Harry Met Sally, right? Stuff like we've already been talking about. They might be come up on the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely had When Harry Met Sally on my short list of movies I wanted to pick, and I'm not gonna like steer away from it just because you've seen it either. Like it'll definitely come around.
Yeah. Natural Born Killers is another one I'll probably watch. The Third Man.
I actually rewatched that last year. That movie pretty much holds up.
Yeah.
Natural Born Killers.
Apocalypse
Natural
Now.
Born Killers holds up.
I've been wanting to watch that.
John, it holds up. It holds up.
I bet it does. I bet it fucking does.
It holds up pretty well.
For my memory of that film, I can't imagine it wouldn't.
Oh,
Yeah.
The Longest Yard,
Woody
50 years
fucking
old
Harrelson, man.
this year.
The
original. No, the Adam Sandler one is 50 years old.
Yeah, it feels like it is, man.
Star Trek: The Motion Picture is 45 years old.
I would really appreciate it. I just want to say that The Longest Yard is actually it's one of my favorite movies ever. And if you would be so kind as to wait, and I would like to all watch that together.
No, yeah, I'm planning on that.
Well, whether or not that's actually a pick for this podcast, or we just randomly do it on a Friday night or something.
Yeah.
It's just a really fucking good comedy, and a lot of people have seen the Adam Sandler one. It sucks. This one is like very much more like serious. Like it's not slapsticky at all.
Yeah.
Like the dude that goes to jail because he beats the shit out of his girlfriend. It's not like they don't paint him to be like a good guy who did a dopey thing.
Yeah.
I mean, like he's kind of like a piece of shit, like and like he basically like lived his whole life as a piece of shit, and like it's being around these prisoners, and like he basically finds like team in a prison. Like he was a professional athlete that couldn't like be a part of a team because he was kind of a fucking like douchebag, but like he finds it in prison. It's just a cool story.
Both Mad Max and Alien are turning 45 this year.
Ooh.
45.
How about
God
that?
damn. After just rewatching Alien the other day,
Holds up.
dude, that fucking movie.
Mad
holds
Max
up.
does not. Mad Max
For
is
sure.
the Road Warrior does.
Yeah. Yeah, I would think the Road Warrior did.
Yeah, so I think I'm just gonna help me use that to help me guide what I'm gonna watch. A lot this
I dig
year.
it.
Big anniversaries.
I like
I'm
that idea.
Trying to find
Yeah,
paths
for
to
sure.
older movies and
Yeah.
especially foreign films. I
Yeah,
just do not
definitely.
watch enough foreign
Definitely.
films.
Nobody does.
Nobody does, except for maybe foreigners.
Yeah. That's fair.
Just a note to the public: I do not refer as non-American people as foreigners.
Yeah.
Why
Okay.
not?
It feels dehumanizing. I don't know. So yeah, watch some shit.
Watch some shit.
Whose pick is it? It's John's pick.
It's my pick. I'm torn, guys. I'm having a hard time this time.
Well, you said it was something from the 80s.
I know, and that opened a whole door. There's so many things. Right?
There's so many things from the 80s.
There's so many things that are beloved movies of mine that I would love. And I know you've never seen, probably would never want to watch because they're so fucking heavy-handed and hammy. So I don't know. I immediately thought first that I was going to propose a double feature.
Yeah.
That I think would be. I don't know if you guys. I think you guys would probably be down for it. But there's a few other things that I think would be really good because you challenged me the other day, Dustin, with trying to pick something completely different than.
Well, it's just like you said that you after you were like I had my mind made up, but then I watched Pure Road, and it's like that makes me think I should pick this, and it's like I don't think that you should.
Yeah, no.
I think we made a mistake with that last year of you picked this movie. I'm going to pick this movie that's kind of like that movie. We did that 3 times in a row, and it was just like, all right, it got a little monotonous. And it's just like, I would much rather you do something that's completely opposite than do something that's kind of the same as what we just did.
Yeah, no, and so with that in mind, I didn't hate that we...
I also don't mind a double feature ever. If somebody thinks it's appropriate and throws it out there, we will honor it's your pick. So
the things that I have in mind are not exactly they're similar in some degree of nature to what we watched. Just because the movie we just watched captures quite a few things, especially when you're talking about shit from the 80s. It definitely captures a lot of the things that run in 80s films, for sure. So, yeah, I don't know.
Are we doing a double feature, John? Is that what we're doing?
So what I propose, you guys want to do something kind of fun?
By propose, you mean choose.
Yeah, I mean, my propose is the...
You're God in this
is
scenario.
the method of choice here. So we can go for a double feature, or I can give you guys choices of A, B, or C.
Oh, well, I mean, it's your choice. So
I know.
I don't want I don't even want to hear your A, B, and C. I want to hear your
I think I want the
decision.
double feature, maybe.
Yeah, I feel like the double feature is the decision you've made. So let's go with the decision you've made.
I have a lot of things that I've been wanting to watch, and it's just a perfect opportunity.
Well, you've got a lot of future choices to get those
I know.
in.
No, I don't want to get fucking
no pressure.
redundant with the things that I choose because I feel like I'll take a lot of the things I want to watch and talk about. I feel like I'd catch heavy criticism.
That's going to happen regardless of what you choose. That's just the nature of the beast.
If you guys like the idea of the double feature, then we'll go with the double.
We'll do it. Yeah. It'll be a busy ass late Wednesday.
It will, and so the double feature is Big Trouble in Little China.
I knew it. That's the one I knew.
Oh, okay.
And the what?
And The Thing.
Oh!
I'm always down for.
Oh my God! Well, we're going with. Oh my God! We're going with my favorite actor double feature. I love it.
Yeah.
Kurt Russell double feature.
It's some of the two of my favorite fucking movies. Great stuff.
Oh, that's awesome. I haven't watched Big Trouble in Little China since I was
the same.
Probably a preteen.
Yeah, dude, it's so fucking good. They're both so good, and they're very different movies too.
Oh, the Thing is the Thing is. I think The Thing could be called the best horror movie of all time.
It's one of them for sure.
Guys, just to let your wives know that we will be a little late next Wednesday because The Thing I think is it's a pretty lengthy movie. It's 2.5 hours.
No, I checked when I was thinking.
It's only a 2-hour movie.
They're both a little over an hour and a half, I think.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I thought The Thing was longer.
Packs it in there, man.
It plays longer.
It does play. I'm pretty sure we can check, but I was conscious of that because I wouldn't have wanted to suggest the double feature without. I wouldn't want to push you guys out.
I love it, man. I love it.
Yeah,
I love your double feature. Let's do it.
It's both things I want to talk about.
We'll do the Kurt Russell. I also want to take a moment to acknowledge that one of our favorites from last year's episodes, Tom Wilkinson, has passed away.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, God,
yeah. So sad news for the Fuck
sad.
This Movie
Two
podcast.
of our picks last year.
Yeah, he was in 2 of our picks last year, which that's something I was gonna do. I actually wanted statistics for which actor appeared in the most picks that we did last year, and I don't know, I feel like there's somebody that appeared in 3 movies, right? There's got to be.
Probably,
Yeah, I don't know who it is offhand.
3 movies?
there are several that appeared in 2.
Yeah, there's a lot of 2s.
But I don't know. It's something for us to look
John
into.
Hurt.
He showed up. Well, he was
In 2?
he was on one. He voiced another.
I mean, he was very present.
Yes. Yeah.
Very, very.
He was
Oh,
very present.
1984 did come out in 1984, so that is having its.
Oh,
whatever.
1984. Yeah. I actually really
40th
want to watch
anniversary?
that because I've never seen the film.
Yeah, I want
And
to see it
like
too.
as much love as I have for John Hurt, I need to watch that
Well,
because
Big Trouble in Little China is an hour and 40 minutes. It is currently on Paramount, I think. It's hard to tell, but it's also available to buy.
I'm gonna do Overboard and Captain Ron.
Kurt Russell.
Hey, Kurt Russell will be in the All-Star.
You're breaking your own rule, dude.
That's not breaking my rule because those are completely different
they're-
movies.
I mean, the Thing and Big Trouble are also pretty different.
They're very different. They're very
The
different.
Thing is an hour and 50 minutes long.
Okay, yeah.
And
So
it is currently on Shudder.
Yeah.
Also, maybe Paramount Plus. Also
And you
available to
get-
buy
It'd
everywhere.
be on
fucking
AMC Plus.
boatload of Kurt Russell.
It actually is on AMC Plus. Yeah,
Yeah, it's because AMC Plus includes Shudder. That's the whole.
Oh, okay.
That's the whole bit.
that's the bit.
It's a good include. There's a lot of good shit
AMC
on
Plus
Shudder.
gets to AMC Plus gets to like extend its library because it happens to include Shudder.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Shudder's good.
So yeah,
Yeah, that'd be
double
fun.
feature. Kurt Russell,
All right, I'm
John
into
Wayne.
it.
Carpenter.
Anything else we need to say, or are we telling everybody to fuck
Yeah.
off?
I think we're good.
Yeah.
All right,
Movies are awesome. Have a good night, guys.
fuck off, fuck out.
Bye.